morning.
Good morning.
The Board of Appeal for February 28th is now in session. Just a reminder, please, have all your cell phones off and take any conversations that you may want to have outside of the room. In conformance with the open meeting law, I'm informing you that this meeting is being live streamed and will be available after this meeting. If you're here to speak in support or in opposition to a project, please put your name and address on the record. Please give us new information when you speak. We are here to hear from you. And new information is more helpful than a repetition of what we've heard before. Also, the BRA's opinion and community processes are all advisory to the decisions of this board. Mr. Fortune?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning. The first minutes, approval of the hearing minutes of February 7th.
May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Calling the first case is an extension for 9:30. Calling BZC 29846, 1954 Commonwealth Avenue.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I was the original architect on this project. I have recused myself from all of the votes, but this is simply an extension, so I will abstain from voting this.
Thank you.
Name and address for the record, please.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is George Moranci. I'm an attorney with a business address of 350 West Broadway in South Boston. Madam Chair, members, I was not the original attorney, ironically, on this, but I do currently represent the owner of the property. He's my client at this time, the U Family Trust. This matter was originally approved by the Board of Appeal on February 9th, 2010 for a project at 1954 Commonwealth Avenue. The original date of entry of the decision was March 23rd, 2010. The permit, therefore, fell under the Permit Extension Act, or I should say the zoning relief fell under the Permit Extension Act and was automatically extended. In addition, my client's counsel at the time did, in fact, formally get an extension from this board to extend the relief to its current expiration date of March 31, 2017. Shortly after this matter was approved, there was litigation. The litigation was resolved. After that, there was a lengthy period that was just concluded last fall, early last winter, with the Aberdeen District Conservation District, essentially landmarks review of the project. What I'm requesting is an extension of the current expiration date of the zoning relief past March 31, 2017, to now allow my client to obtain financing and complete the project. I would respectfully request a one-year extension rather than 6 months to avoid coming back here in 6 months if, in fact, the financing has not been secured and the permit hasn't been issued. But it is, in fact, my client's intention to construct this project.
Make a motion for a one-year extension.
Just for the record, do we have the new drawings on file?
New drawings have to be, they're with the Inspectional Services Department. I could certainly arrange for a copy to be delivered to this board as well.
So we just need to know what we're approving.
Certainly, I understand.
So there's a motion, there's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And the date, please, is
March 31, 18.
March 31, 18.
Thank you.
Calling the next case for extension, calling BZC 31544, 1550 Columbus Avenue. Name and address for the record, please.
Joseph Lieber with the law firm of Klein Hornig, LLP. My office address is 101 Arch Street, residential address 15 Sims in Roslindale.
Please give us a brief history and the reason for the request.
Yeah, it feels like I'm just going to be restating what the previous attorney said because the facts are much the same. This property came before the board in December 2011, received 3 variances for community center use, for rear yard and screening and buffering. I mean, I guess I should tell you what the project is. It's a Jackson Square Recreational Center,
Oh,
just
right,
part of
we
the
know that,
part of the
yes.
Jackson Square Master Plan.
Yes.
The proponent is Urban Edge. So it received the variances in 2011, filed with ISD in March 2012. Just like the previous project, it fell within the Permit Extension Act and was extended until 2016. Came before this board and got an extension in 2016 that now is set to expire on March 7th. And we're seeking a further one-year extension. The project, the financing structure is quite complicated. There are a great number of sources.
Hold on 1 second. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion for 1-year extension.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So it's been extended to March 7th, 2018.
Fine, thank you.
Calling the next case on extension, calling BOA 442-232, 35 Hansborough Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Ruth Silman with Nixon Peabody on behalf of Brookview House, the proponent. We are seeking a 6-month extension. This is for 12 units for homeless families. We hope will then be formerly homeless, and some community space. The original decision was in February of 2015, and then final arbiter amended it slightly to increase some community space in July of 2015. My client is seeking a 6-month extension. The financing is almost put together, and they really hope that they will be in the ground by the summer, but because it's a July date, they're seeking a short extension simply to be sure that we don't violate anything with respect to the zoning relief.
I'll make a motion for a 6-month extension.
Excuse me, what was the expiration date on it?
July 21, 2017.
So that 6-month would bring it to,
January 21, 2018.
okay.
Please.
So there's a motion, there's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, and you're all set.
Thank you.
Calling the next case for building code, case BOA 659-946, 235 Baker Street. Is Baker Street here? They withdrew? Okay, sorry. I apologize. They're withdrawing. I make a motion for denial without prejudice.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Calling the 9:30 hearings, are there any deferrals or withdrawals for 9:30? Hearing none, we'll call the first case. Calling BOA 665-313, 175 North Harvard Street. This is an expansion of the existing parking lot to provide 90 ancillary parking spaces. The violation to Article 51, Section 27, ancillary parking is a conditional use. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, members of the board. My name is William Dillon from the law firm of Goulston and Storrs. I'm here with Joel Sklar, who's the principal of Samuels and Associates, and Mike Fitzpatrick, Vice President of Development of Samuels and Associates, 136 Brookline Avenue in Boston. This is an application to provide some additional parking for the existing Continuum project in the Barry's Corner neighborhood in connection with a Trader Joe's, new Trader Joe's store to be opening there. The project itself, Continuum, was built a little over a year ago, and it's open. The first floor is of retail is not completely occupied, and this is in connection with the Trader Joe's lease. Samuels ground leases this property on a long-term basis from Harvard, and the lease with Trader Joe's, although it's been signed, is contingent upon approval of the parking arrangements that we're proposing today. The parking that's being proposed will be for a surface lot across a newly constructed street called Ivy Lane that was built as part of the project. There's 180 parking spaces in the building now, and the additional parking, which will be primarily used by Trader Joe's once they open, and the additional parking will provide for any additional parking that's needed for residents of the building. And we're amending our ground lease with Harvard to include the additional surface parking across the street, so it'll become part of the premises that Samuels is leasing.
So what will be the total number of parking spaces?
The total number of parking spaces will be, currently I think there are 180 or so in the building, and then the parking across the street will be for up to 90 based on demand.
And it's not for exclusive use of Trader Joe's, it's for what?
It is not. It's for the residents of the building. Trader Joe's parking needs to be in the garage part of the building, so the tenants will have an opportunity to park in the building and across the street.
So this is for the use of the tenants at what address?
It's 175 North Harvard.
So this is ancillary parking for the tenants at 175 North Harvard?
Yes, although the property across the street will be under the same ground lease, it's a separate lot, so it would be considered ancillary parking.
And what is the address of that lot?
I'm sorry, I misspoke a moment ago. The lot is 175 North Harvard. The building is 219 North Harvard. I beg your pardon. 219 Western Ave, I beg your pardon.
So this used to be the convenience store?
This site was formerly various Harvard-owned buildings. The Ed Portal would be the most recognizable Harvard facility that used to be there.
Okay. Jack?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jeff Hampton, Boston Planning and Development Agency. I would just like to clarify, in the BPDA's vote that you have before you today is a draft vote where we did ask, following our policy of the 3-year sunset clause. That recommendation was made purely not fully understanding what was being asked for the ancillary parking. The fear at the time was that at some point in time, this might become parking as a fee. We would just like to be reassured that this is going to be used for those residents and for Trader Joe's. I wouldn't want to put a sunset clause on this if it's being used purely for that reason. If it's being used for parking for a fee, then I would ask for a sunset clause of 5 years. But if it's not, I wouldn't ask for a sunset clause at all.
And so the restriction is that it in fact continue to be used as ancillary parking for 219 Northwest, for Western Ave, and not for any other use,
That would
Not
be,
for parking for a fee,
all
correct.
parking for a fee.
that would certainly be fine with us, Madam Chair.
And I forget, was there adequate screening and buffering in place there?
Mike, do you want to speak to that?
I can speak to it. So there is some landscape on the perimeter of that parcel, and adjacent to the road that we reconstructed and built. It's something that we plan on developing the construction level documents further that would include some level of treatment on the edge of the parking lot.
Thank you. And is this part of the Harvard IMP?
Well, it's part of the whole redevelopment of Barry's Corner. I mean, not to mention the Harvard IMP, but the Barry's Corner PDA. So, I mean, it's quite an improvement. So we're not, the BPDA is not opposed to the use at all. It was the parking for the fee that was maybe out there, but as long as we're reassured that that's not going to happen, I don't want a sunset clause on it at all.
And how are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
The contract, but a clear. So that means you can simply park there for nothing.
We're not looking to do transit parking here at all, and that's why we're only going to use it for purposes of residents of the building, of the Continuum project next door. That's the only purpose for which it'll be.
Right.
Yeah.
But if I go to Trader Joe's, am I allowed to stay for the purchase of 1 cup of coffee all day there?
The Trader Joe, 100% of the Trader Joe parkers would be either on the street or in the garage of the building. None of them would be in this parking lot.
So access to this parking lot would be by key code or something?
There'll be a system like that, key code or hang tag, something of that nature.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Warren O'Reilly, Office of Neighborhood Services, we are here to speak in support of it. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Tony Disidoro, representing the Alston Civic Association. We're on record in support. The addition of a Trader Joe's to the North Alston neighborhood is a very significant development, and we understand that this relief is critical for it to happen, so we're in support.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Daniel Polanco on behalf of Councilor Mark Siomo. I'd like to go on record in support as well.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve. Well, can I add a proviso that the approval be contingent on limiting the use of the parking for the residents?
So it's for no fee parking, and that it be limited the use of the residents at 219 Weston Ave.
Madam Chair, may I seek a clarification? No fee, we might charge residents of the building for the parking, but it's fine that it be limited
But
to
it
them.
be not general no fee.
Yeah,
Yes.
no blue pea in front of the lot, for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with those provisos.
Very much. Thank you.
Calling BOA 629-541, 85 Linden Street. This is to construct a new three-story addition into the rear of an existing single-family dwelling and create 3 new parking spaces at grade and under the addition. This should change occupancy from a single-family dwelling to a two-family dwelling. Violations, Article 51, Section 9, the floor-to-area ratio is excessive. Article 51, Section 9, usable open space is insufficient. Article 51, Section 9, side yard is insufficient. And Article 51, Section 9, rear yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, my name is James Christopher with the business address of 415 Neponset Ave, RCALC. We're the architects on the project. At this time, we'd like to request a deferral. We've been discussing with the mayor's office and Council Siomo's office. The ACA, the Alston Civic Association, did not support the project. We did have an abutters meeting that was overwhelmingly positive, but at the request of Council Siomo and discussing with the mayor's office this morning, we'd like to defer, try to tweak the design, and go back to the ACA and see if we can garner some support.
Motion for deferral.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The date, please.
April 11th.
Thank you.
Call the next case. Calling BOA 577-433, 391 LaGrange Street. This is to legalize a parking space in front of the house. Entry is from an existing curb cut. This space is to be used to load and to unload handicapped tenants in wheelchairs. The violation is Article 56, Section 39. Off-street parking requirements. Parking in front yard is forbidden. Name and address for the record, please.
Luann Vitalis, 1185 Bennington Street in East Boston, Massachusetts.
Ken Cunningham, the manager and trustee of 391 LaGrange Street. Luann is from RHD, and she's the manager of the house.
Megan Chilson. I'm also from RHD, 70 Colby Street in Medford.
So please tell us what this proposal is.
Yes, I have a plot plan showing the existence that currently exists, and it's been like this since I bought the house 35 years ago. There's always been parking in front, and the only reason I'm coming before the board today is that I started getting parking tickets like a year ago for parking in front, where in fact for the last 35 years since I've owned the house, we've always parked in front. In fact, the reason RHD is here, Resources for Human Development is here, is because they use the front of the house to bring in the handicapped vehicles to unload the clients so they can go up to the ramp to the inside the house.
Can you please give the young lady there a copy of the site plan so we can understand what is going on?
I made several copies, yeah. This is not a proposal, this is how it currently exists, because there's really no action to take to modify it.
So this is as proposed?
This is as built and as it's been for the last, I would say at least 40 years, because that driveway was there before I owned the property.
So Mr. Cunningham, so it looks like there is a legitimate front yard. I did a site visit yesterday.
Okay.
And it looks like you have an existing driveway. There is the handicap ramp right next to Billings. And it looks like the front yard, the parking is actually, there is a grassy front yard in front of the building.
Yes, there is.
This site plan, however, shows that the existing driveway moves in closer to the ramp. It doesn't show that there is in fact a fence there and a legitimate front yard.
I have photographs, I mean, if that helps. Okay. We're not planning on doing away with the grassy area in front. We're just looking for relief so that we can continue parking in front for the handicap, because LaGrange Street is a very busy street, and it's sometimes it's very dangerous to unload people in front of the house.
Have you looked for handicap parking on the street?
Well, there is a handicap parking on the street,
Yeah.
but a lot of times they have their own van, plus a lot of times a lot of people who are handicapped use that space to go into the car, a next door neighbor.
Yeah, if I may speak, the area is very competitive for parking. We're right next to Billings Field, and for 3 seasons a year, you have Little League, you have adults playing baseball, you have, a large playground. So the parking in that area is pretty heavily used, including the handicap parking, because handicap parking also use the field. We're also next to the Corab Pub. The Corab Pub is a neighborhood pub that caters to a lot of elderly people who have handicap parking. So it's not uncommon unless I'm leaving or coming back very early in the morning or late at night to find that there is no on-street parking that's closer than 3 or 4 blocks away.
And are all the units handicapped or just one unit?
The first floor unit.
But there are multiple people
Multiple
in
people.
wheelchairs living.
How many people?
2 have wheelchairs and 1 is somewhat of a fall risk and also has issues with getting disoriented in the community.
Okay. And this is something I have to say at every meeting, because we have to recognize that the relief does not go with the building, it does not go with the ownership, it does not go with the use, it goes with the property. So just so that you understand that we have to always, as a board, be cognizant of that fact. Okay, how are the plans, Mr. Bizzani?
Well, it's exactly the same plan that you all have.
Okay.
I do have a question, though. How many of the tenants actually have automobiles?
Well,
No.
You're about right. There's a third floor tenant that has one vehicle. The staff would have a couple of vehicles, but they and they have a van. But the key times are in the morning and the afternoon, when the vans that are bringing the people back from the day program. That's the critical time where they, around 3:30, 4 o'clock, when especially, or 8:30 to 9 in the morning, when the traffic's the heaviest and they have to be off the street in order to load the people into the vans.
So let's ask a question. The existing driveway, the one that goes towards the rear yard, who uses that?
To the one
Yes.
straight ahead goes,
Yes.
the third floor uses one parking space, and the first floor has access to the one behind that, and then there's the other third one would be in front. So there's three legitimate parking spaces in.
Any other questions from
So
the board?
who is the third tenant a person that uses that space?
RHD is on the first floor. That's my apartment that has 2 people in wheelchairs, 1 person who's a fall risk, and 1 other developmentally disabled person. The person on the 3rd floor has 1 parking spot. The middle floor is what we call an independent apartment. It's lived in by a developmentally disabled man, but he is staffed part of the time. His staff have cars, and when his staff are there, or when he has visitors from other houses that are driven there, they need to find parking for their vans or cars too. So there's, and then there's my staff. My staff will come and go in the middle of the night because our shifts end at 11 o'clock. So some of them will feel nervous if they walk too far, although sometimes they have to.
So in reality, this space is really for staff members?
No.
The space in front of the house is for the wheelchair van that does not fit very well in the driveway because you have to open the ramp that comes out, and
That's
that's...
the photograph I'm looking at. This is not a wheelchair van.
Well, at the critical times of day, between 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and in the afternoon, like 3 or 4 o'clock, the staff don't park there because they know the vans are coming in, and they move their cars to make sure the vans can safely unload the clients.
Okay, any other questions?
So you describe this situation as an existing condition for many years?
I've owned the house since '82.
Okay, so what has triggered the...
I started getting $300 parking tickets.
I understand that. And what triggered those tickets, the different enforcement?
Public Works started doing some kind of, and I already started getting tickets. I have no idea why the city decided to start giving tickets on it.
There's no explanation?
No explanation. I appealed them, and every time I appealed them to the Public Works, they dismissed it. They dismissed it, but they also suggested that I go through this process to go through the Board of Appeals. So they will.
I think the trigger, and we need to bring closure to this conversation soon, is that this spot may not have been appropriately permitted in the past, and that's no issue of yours, but...
For front yard parking?
Yes, but now it's issued for front yard parking. Bob?
Madam Chair, ladies and members of the board, Bob McGill, BTP. Just a recommendation, we can work with the applicant to put handicap parking in front of the house on the street, which is something very doable and might help.
We already have that.
So
You already have?
Can you dedicate that to a specific building?
No.
Okay. Is
Clarify something. You were getting tickets on your private property?
for front yard parking?
I was there.
Okay,
There were times.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Hold on. Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jack Duggan, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Just want to speak on behalf of Mr. Cunningham in support. We held an abutters meeting on January 19th, and he had full support of the abutting neighbors. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Bill McGregor with City Councilor Matt O'Malley. The council would also like to go on record in support. We've actually been told of other people getting tickets if a driveway was made and it wasn't up to code. This isn't the first time that we've heard. I know that you're asking about getting a ticket on private property, so that has happened. It still happens here and there. So they're trying to get everything up to code, I believe.
Madam Chairman, members of the board, my name's Tony Bly. My family owns the property that directly abuts Mr. Cunningham. Mr. Cunningham's a great neighbor. He's a city guy. His kids went to city schools. He volunteers for Holy Name, the YMCA, the Rotary. I'm just fully in support of this. He's not changing anything, and he's not bothering anyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Just a question before a motion. The BPDA recommended denial?
We did on the policy, just as the chairwoman had stated, that any zoning relief that, is granted goes with the property and not with the owner.
May I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to grant approval with a sunset clause that after 3 years, or something like that, you have to apply for some kind of a handicap space in front of the premises.
There is already a handicap space.
There is one, yeah.
Yes.
That's my motion for 3 years.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed? I'm opposed.
I'm opposed too, so the motion does not carry. Mr. D'Amico, as a special extension, can you work with the applicant, because I know he does an excellent job on trying to figure out the best way of making this work for them, because I think there is a solution to this. So please, can you work with them? Ken, can you get Bob's information, because I think it can work, okay?
Calling the next case, calling BOA 636-001, 322 Blue Hill Avenue. There's also a building code called BOA 636-023, 322 Blue Hill Avenue. Blue Hill Avenue here. This is to change 2 apartments and stores to 7 studio apartments and 1 store. The violations, Article 9, Section 1, extension of a non-conforming use, mixed-use structure in MFR sub-district, extension of floors, stores, floors, area grows. Article 50, Section 43, insufficient parking. Article 50, Section 26, insufficient lot size. Article 50, Section 26, insufficient additional lot area. Article 50, Section 26, excessive FAR. And Article 50, Section 26, insufficient front yard setback, a minimum of 20 feet. For the building code, Section 1208.3, room area, minimum room area widths of 521 CMR requirements, accessibility is in non-compliance. Name and address for the record, please.
Sean Smith, 119 Hollingsworth Street, Mattapan, Mass.
Jose Cruz, 27 Blue Hill, 22 Blue Hill.
Will you be speaking?
Yes, Ed Crowder, owner of 322 Blue Hill Avenue.
Okay, so please speak up first, because those just tape, okay?
This one's mine.
You guys can share.
Oh, okay.
So I just wanted to make sure that you know that the first thing we always do when there's a building code violation is have the applicant speak to what the resolution is or the response to the citation of the building code. So are you prepared to do that?
Yes.
Okay, please, go ahead.
There was some citations, and the thing that we did was we vacated the building, and all of the items that was an issue.
This specifically relates to section 1202.3, room area minimum. And so we need a response to that as the first question.
Room area. Jose, you have to speak to that.
Yes.
One of the bedrooms was insufficient size. It was 11 by 6.5, which had turned out to be a typo. The actual size of the bedroom is 12 feet by 8 feet 11. And
12 feet by 8'11"?
Yes, and it was corrected and it was submitted. I don't know if you guys ever got a copy
Now,
of that.
which bedroom is this?
Yes.
And which bedroom is this? I mean, which unit is this related to?
I think it's the first floor and second floor unit in the rear.
I'm confused, candidly. I'm looking at a set of drawings prepared by an architect that shows the room at 5'11". It's the middle one. I'm now looking at a second set of drawings that ostensibly shows the room the same size. What has changed? The issue is that the room at 5'11" is you have insufficient width for that room. So what change, where is the 8-foot dimension?
For the room. This is A, exactly 8 by 11.
Can you,
This is then the back.
Which drawing are you looking at?
The room is now, the architect put it wrong.
can you identify on your sheet, which sheet you're looking at that that will clarify it for Mr. Bazzani?
It's right here. Let me see.
I'm looking at A-4.
A dash, it's on sheet A-5 on the proposed third floor plan.
Give me A.
That's the second floor. It's a proposed, it's for the second and third.
A-5. You gave me 3 of A-4.
Was this proposal before us before?
No.
You never brought a proposal for this property before?
No. That's the first time.
Okay.
Mr. Bazzani, is there a response in there that you see that will satisfy your, the understanding of this building code relief request?
No, only if they did work. Because the drawings that I'm looking at were originally stamped in 2016.
Okay.
And Douglas Warren is the architect. And now I'm looking at a drawing that has no date and does not indicate that a change was made. No, it simply says proposed change, so you haven't made a change, right?
Yeah, the work hasn't been done. There's no work been done on the building at all.
Given that, Madam Chair, that what is currently being proposed is a correct violation.
Yes.
By increasing the distance from 5'11" to 8 feet. On that basis, and make a motion to grant the building, well, you don't need building code relief.
No, you do not, propose.
Make a motion to deny the building
Deny.
code relief because you don't need it, because you're gonna make the change.
Yes. Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now to the merits of the case. Tell us what you're proposing to do to the entire building.
My proposal is change the building.
You could speak up, it would be great.
My proposal is change the building. The areas is by selling studio and the store for single person. I think the area is needed because I don't see around one studio apartment, and he got good signs for each apartment.
Okay, so let's just backtrack. First of all, how many units is this?
7
And what are the sizes of these proposed studios?
for a studio. That's the second floor. This is dining room, living room.
Just the square footage, sir, please.
How many is? Let's see.
Mr. Bazzani, can you help?
It's about 400 square feet per unit.
So far-
For junior.
Okay, 400 square feet per unit,
Yes.
okay? And tell us about the parking. One of the violations is insufficient parking.
Right. The building's located on Blue Ave, and there's no parking there at all for the building. It would be on-street parking.
So the building is an existing building that covers the entire lot,
Yes.
okay? And the initial use was for how many
It
units?
was two 3-bedroom units on the second and third floor, and it was on the first floor, there's a store on the first floor.
Okay, and what kind of store is that?
It's a little variety store.
A variety store, okay. How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
The drawings are adequate, the revised plans are adequate, and they're fine.
the plans are adequate?
The plans are adequate.
And there's second means of egress, etc.?
Yes, there are.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
I,
Hold on.
oh, okay. So, yeah, okay.
Joshua McFadden, Mayor's Office, Neighborhood Services. I'd like to go on record in support of this project as well. The applicant met project right. The meeting went well. There was some minimal provisions to parking, but other than that, everything was a go with project right and the abutters. So thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Sean Cheatham, Councilor Andrea Campbell's office. We'd also like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please? Because looking at the pictures, it looks like the store has grates on it. Does it?
Yes.
Okay. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve BPO. No review? All right. Motion to approve.
With design review for the grates.
Take the grates
and
off? For the grates.
And yes, and the entire. Yep. Make sure that everything's fine code-wise. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with that proviso, okay? Good luck.
Calling BOA 662-156, 416 Harvard Street. This is to construct a new three-family dwelling on an existing 6,654 square foot lot. Violations, Article 10, Section 1, limitation of area of accessory uses. Article 60, Section 40, location of off-street parking in front yard. Article 60, Section 40, off-street parking design and maneuverability. Article 60, Section 41, conformity with an existing building alignment. Article 60, Section 9, lot area for additional dwelling units is insufficient. Article 60, Section 9, usable open space is insufficient. And Article 60, Section 9, side yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning. My name is Stuart Schreier. I'm an attorney with an office at 1005 Dorchester Avenue. With me is Tri-Knock Wynn, who is the owner of the property. The proposal is to build a traditional three-family house on a lot that's much longer and narrower than one would hope. The significant violation, the most significant violation, is it's in a 3F 5,000 zone, which requires 5,000 square feet for the first two units and 2,500 square feet for the additional unit. So you really need 7,500 to do this as of right, and we have 66 plus a little, so we're about 900 square feet short. We are providing 3 off-street parking spaces. Because of the narrowness of the lot, one of the violations is probably maneuverability. I have a picture to show you, and as you can see, the lot has a sort of almost a banana shape is the problem, which leads in the parking area to be a little narrow, and therefore you're a little close on the side yard. But basically,
What's the side street?
the side street is Fabian.
I'm sorry?
Fabian.
Oh, of course. Okay.
Okay, and it's really a nice design. I've done a lot of these three-deckers where they're on 4,000 square feet and small lots. This is 6,600. It's actually a pretty nice lot, and the only violation, really, the big one, is that we're just about 900 square feet short.
Is that an existing curb cut?
Sorry?
Is that an existing curb cut or a proposed curb cut?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Is it- Oh, the curb cut is new.
It's new, okay.
Proposed.
How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Plans are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chairman, members of the board, with George, the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, we did complete a community process for this project and proposal, and there was no opposition from the abutters. We'd like to go on record in support. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Sean Cheatham, Councilor Andrea Campbell's office. We'd also like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval, BPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
Thank you very kindly. Thank you.
Calling next case. Calling BOA 658-314, 3-7 Cottage Court. This is to combine 2 vacant lots into a single lot, erect a 3-story, 3-family townhouse dwelling with garage. Violations, Article 50, Section 29, insufficient additional lot area per dwelling unit. Article 50, Section 29, excessive FAR. Article 50, Section 29, insufficient usable open space. Article 50, insufficient front yard setback. Article 50, insufficient side yard setback. And Article 50, Section 29, insufficient rear yard setback. Name and address for the record, please.
Vargas da Silveira in reference to 37 Cottage Court.
You're proposing?
Good morning, board members. I'm here today to propose a three-family townhouse on a, the zoning is three-family, 5,000. We only have 3,000 square feet. I have the plot plan, the proposed plot plan of what the land looks like and also the building attached onto it. I don't know if you want me to put it somewhere or have that available here.
Tell us, how will the access work?
The access is actually on private way. There is no parking on the street. It's a very narrow private way that no one's supposed to be parking there. And the three-family that we're proposing, do you want me to show you the pictures or?
Just talk us through it.
Just talk us through it. All right, so the three-family that we're proposing needs basically 5 variants. We don't have, it's 3,000 square feet, as I said, and it has insufficient dwelling, excessive FAR, usable open space, setback, side yards that that is needed. That's in front of you today.
So with combining the lots, it's 3,000 square feet.
That is correct.
The total size.
Correct.
And you're proposing 3 townhouses?
3 townhouses on the lot.
So, okay. And tell us how the parking is going to work.
The parking that we're proposing is actually a garage right on the first floor in the dwelling itself. So as you pull into the private way, you would go right into the garage. It's the building will be located at the street level. And it also reduces, I know there's some issues right at the moment that people are parking in the private way. That would actually eliminate some of that. And we also, this week we came and realized that another home was in front of you guys, in front of the board back in 2004, 2005, that there was parking that was created on these lots from allowing them from going from a single family to 2-family dwelling, which I wasn't aware of the last time that we were here. We got a deferral to further investigate that and found out that, in fact, the board had made a decision that the owners should park on that unit. Although I don't know why the board granted full parking, the requirement was only a single parking that was needed based on the zone relief that they
So the
needed back there.
abutting lot that was converted from 1 to 2, do they have adequate parking on their lot?
Once we're done with the building, they will. There will be tandem parking between the building that we're proposing to do and the next building, which the owner actually owns. And also there'll be 3 parking inside of the building that we're proposing because it has a garage attached to it. We realize there might be more space that's needed, and we're willing to shift the building more towards the opposite street to make even more space in between the 2 buildings for the parking that would be required.
Mr. Bazzani?
The plans are adequate, but doesn't that put your neighbor's building in violation of open space? In other words, they have a building that has open space because they're parking on your lot. You're taking the parking away from them, and now they're parking on their own lot, paving their lot, which doesn't count against the open space.
The actual owner owns everything in that area except one building, which is actually on the other side.
That's not the issue. The issue is, it's not the issue of who owns it. It's the issue of the plot that was approved for the 2-family. was approved, in order to solve the parking problem, was ancillary parking on the adjacent lot. You're now taking that away. Seems to me that puts them in violation on two counts. One is probably parking, and the other should definitely be open space.
The parking that was originally assigned to there, it's in the same spot. There's no change as far as where they're going to park. It was tandem parking between the two buildings. We're just going to make it a little bit bigger. Instead of them parking actually on the lot in question, they can park right on the side. And the requirement for that particular unit was only one parking. And we're proposing that one parking, and also we're proposing additional 3 parking within the building. And if need be, we can actually, because I only found this out, within the last couple of weeks. I haven't had the opportunity, but with the BRA, if this board approves it, we can shift the building a little bit closer to the other street where we would have more parking space in between the two buildings.
The problem is that then you probably increase your violations. It's when you start shifting around and you want everything set as soon as possible so that you're just set financing-wise, etc.
Looking at it, I would not violate I wouldn't violate anything because the violation is actually in front of the board, which is the side yard. It's already one of the reliefs that we're seeking.
Yes, but if you're going to increase that violation, then this doesn't cover it. Any other questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Greetings, Madam Chair, members of the board. Joshua McFadden, the Mayor's Office, Neighborhood Services. Like to go on record in support of this project. We had an abutters meeting, and a lot of the abutters were in agreements. I know there was one abutter who mentioned some concerns with parking, as you all are mentioning now. But other than that, everything went well. Except the parking situation, if we can get that mitigated. As of now, we are in support.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman and the board, my name is Lucas DeBarros, Legislative Aide for State Representative Ivandro C. Carvalho, 5th Suffolk District. I'm here to state the representative's support of this project, citing community support and the support of community organizations such as Project Right and Dudley Street Neighborhood Initiative.
Good morning, Madam Chair. My name is Joe Adepina. I am a resident of District 7, in which I live not too far away from this project. I'm in support of this project. I think this is a great project. It's going in line with what the mayor is doing with the city, adding more affordable housing to this community. And I'm aware, I've had a long-time relationship with this owner of this property, as I've known him to be in the neighborhood since I migrated here. I migrated to the area knowing Mr. Tavares that owns this area, this property. And I know that he's going to provide low-income housing, meaning that he's not going to overcharge for this rental unit. So I am in agreement with that because it's also going to help the residents in the neighborhood.
Can you put your address on the record?
It's 59 Elm Hill Avenue.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Good morning, Madam Chair. My name is Ricardo Bryant. I currently am the owner of 20 Judson Street, which is less than a block away from this project. I'm here to support the project because while it adds affordable housing to the area, it also brings the property value of the areas up. The issue as far as parking has been addressed. I understand because I live there. I have a driveway at my house. Parking can be an issue, but this particular project provides parking spaces for each building. So I don't see where that would be an issue. I've been in that neighborhood as a resident for over 40 years. As an owner for the last 10 years. I've known the family that wants this project to go through. They're good people, just trying to provide.
Just for clarification, you're in favor of this, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You're in favor? Oh,
Yes,
I
sir.
thought you were speaking in opposition.
No,
Okay,
absolutely not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is anybody else to speak in favor? Are you speaking in favor? Yes. Oh, good. Please, your name and address for the record.
I'm Darnella Crossett. I live at 27 Gayland. I'm a long-time owner. I've been there 50 years, and I know the people very well. And I also agree that it's going to be low-income housing. It's going to be better for the neighborhood and add a little value. That the parking is the problem.
Okay.
But I don't have a parking spot either.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Hi, Lilia Swinson, 2 Cottage Court. Opposition only due to the fact of the parking issues that are in question. I am 2 Cottage Court. I am the other abutter, and I have concerns about being able to have me and my family be able to drive into Cottage Court, which is a very tight spot. It's about the size of a driveway, the width, and about the length of 5.5 to 6 cars. I'm very concerned that if any additional cars on these townhouses would be blocking the driveway and blocking my family from getting in and out. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a clarification from you. This was denied before, right?
No, ma'am.
No,
It was deferred
this was deferred
because
before.
we found out of the letter that exists from
Okay,
2005.
and is this a new application then?
Yes.
How
yes,
has it changed from the deferred one?
It has not changed. We found out, the last time that we were here, we found out that there was a letter from 2000
Was it scheduled for today as a deferral or as a new project?
as a deferral.
I have it marked at the original hearing, which was 10th of January, for deferred to 14th of March. That's what the stamp says now, maybe.
But it appears that every abutter here is aware of the date today, because everybody is aware of your presence here.
Madam Chair, this was re-advertised. I remember this one now. This was re-advertised, that's why there are abutters here.
Okay, we just
I think
need-
originally it was January 10th, and then subsequent to that hearing, at that hearing, we had a discussion, and we tried our best to get them on earlier. But the only way we could do that was by re-advertising the whole thing.
Okay, so we just need to make sure that we, in the future, close all the appropriate loops, okay? Hearing the testimony, may I have a motion, please?
Put a motion forward to approve the project with BPDA design review and continued work with the neighbors.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
Calling BOA 676-313, 145 Stoughton Street. This is to change occupancy from lodger's house with 12 lodgers to 6 apartments with 8 parking spaces and renovate the existing boarding house. Violations, Article 9, Section 2, non-conforming use change. From lodging house to MFR, a letter of termination is required. Article 65, Section 9, insufficient side yard setback. Article 65, Section 9, excessive FAR. Article 65, number of allowed stories have been exceeded. Article 65, Section 8, MFR is conditional use. Article 65, Section 39, screening and buffering, none is proposed. And Article 65, Section 9, location of main entrance to units must face the front lot line. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Stephen Suda, 145 Stoughton Street, Dorchester, Massachusetts.
Andrew Litchfield, 546 East Broadway.
Ryan Oconee, 546 East Broadway.
Please tell us what's being proposed.
We have currently in the existing structure, we have a 12-room lodger's house with a dilapidated barn in the back. We're planning to rehab the existing structure, put it to 2 condo units, and in the back, erect 3 condo townhomes in the back.
Okay, so this will go from a lodging house to,
5 condo units.
pardon?
5 condo units, yes.
5 condo units. Well, that's quite a switch. Have you deregistered it as a lodging house, or are there still tenants in the building?
The building is vacant, but we have not yet deregistered the lodging house.
Okay. And tell us, so these are a lot of violations. Tell us if any have gone away since your change of proposal from 6 apartments to 5 apartments.
Yes. Yes, so originally at our first meeting with the Jones Hill Association, They had some concerns on the density, also on the height, and on the parking as well. So what we did, we went forward and we eliminated one of the units to eliminate a little bit of that density. Also, it would raise the parking ratio as well. We took the existing, the new proposed building in the back from 31.8 of a height, and we dropped that down to 31.4. And right from there, we made multiple changes on that for the neighborhood association as well.
And these buildings are connected? Yes?
Yes, they will be connected. Also, many of the setbacks, we will be using the existing footprint of the barn. So the setbacks in terms of the barn to the new structure will not be changing.
And there are roof decks proposed?
No, there is not. There's one in the middle structure that connects both the existing and the new unit, which would be deeded to 2 units.
And that would be off the second story.
And what are the unit sizes, the sizes of each unit?
Roughly anywhere from 950 to 1,100. Then there is one 3-bedroom in the existing structure that is a duplex that will be 1,600 square feet.
Okay. And does Mr. Pisani have the most recent plans?
Oh, yes, he does. Just brought them forth.
Yes, because I'm looking at an A10. Okay, that does show that roof deck. Okay, how are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chairman, members of the board. Flavio De Vega, Mayor's Office, Neighborhood Service. Would like to go on record in support of this project. We completed community process with both Jones Hill Civic as well as the butters, and we worked out all the differences, so they're in support of this project. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Joe McEachran, City Councilor Frank Baker's office would like to go on record in support.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval of BPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very
We're all
much.
set.
Thank you. Calling BOA 637-441, 38 Whiting Street. This is a change from a 2-family to a 3-family dwelling. Work has already been done. Violations, Article 50. Section 1, floor area ratio is excessive. Article 50, Section 29, lot area is insufficient. Article 50, Section 29, usable open space is insufficient. And Article 50, Section 43, off-street parking is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Mansur Dayani, 38 Whiting Street.
So please tell us what you're proposing.
I would like to request a deferral since I didn't have the community neighborhood meeting.
Okay. I just have a question for you. Did I understand that this work has already been done?
Yes, madam.
So what's a community meeting going to do?
This is the process they told me you have to go through.
Okay. May I hear from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services?
Madam Chair, members of the board, we definitely understand that the work has already been done, but we wanted to make sure that the community knew that we supported them as well, and making sure that the applicant actually went back before and divulged the plans again with the community. We just wanted to have that on the record.
Okay, thank you. May I have a motion, please?
Motion for deferral.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The date, please?
April 25th.
Okay, we'll see you then.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Calling BOA 666-471, 77 to 79 South Street.
Jeff, does the...
This is to install a new dormer on the 3rd floor. Violations, Article 55, Section 9, insufficient FAR. The dormer addition will worsen the existing non-conforming FAR. And Article 55, Section 9, insufficient side yard setback. The dormer extension is within the allowed side yard setback. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Cameron Merrill, business address Merrill & McGeary, 100 State Street, Suite 200, Boston, Massachusetts. Residential address West 2nd, South Boston. As you have before you, this is a modest proposal to add approximately 40 to 45 square feet on the 3rd floor of a condominium unit building in Jamaica Plain, abutted by a parking lot, which will be the side which the dormers will face. Ultimately, this comes down to a modernization of the unit. This is in the kitchen living area where there is a sloped roof currently, This will simply expand the area 40 square feet and allow for a higher ceiling in this area to make it more livable for the occupants.
How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Alexandra Valdez, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. The project went through a whole community process with no opposition. I would like to go on record to support.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Andrew Baldazan from the Office of District 6 City Councilor Matt O'Malley. I'd like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board.
BOA 672-890, 1511 to 1525 Washington Street. This is a change occupancy, wireless communications, office wireless communications, a yoga studio, and renovate the tenant space. The violations, Article 64, Section 18. The bar, yoga, fitness studio is forbidden. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning. My name is Mike Ross. I'm an attorney at Prince Lobel. I'm here with my client, Jamie Golden, who is a 3-year resident of the South End and a fitness instructor, entrepreneur who seeks to open a bar studio at 1511 Washington Street. It would be considered a fitness use, which is forbidden in this area. The applicant has engaged in a full community process, has met with the Blackstone Franklin Square neighborhood group on November 15th, had full support, and has met with the Washington Gateway Main Streets group. Some members are here actually to support, and she's just been doing a lot of on-the-ground outreach and is looking forward.
Counselor, how many square feet is this?
This is a 1558 square foot ground floor unit within an existing building that presently contains 33 units of housing, office, and a restaurant.
So what is this use replacing?
It's replacing an office use that's been vacant for 3 years, and the neighborhood's really interested in seeing something go there.
Okay, and what are the hours of operations proposed?
Approximately 6 a.m. to 8 p.m.
7 days a week?
Yes, with some closing throughout the day, but mainly open mornings.
At peak hours?
Exactly.
Okay.
Is this in the same building as Stella's?
Yes.
How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Sam Chambers, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support. As the applicant has stated, they have the support of the Blackstone Franklin Neighborhood Association and the Washington Gateway Main Street organization. Residents have been asking now for years that this space next to Stella and next to the Blackstone Community Center parking lot be filled in with something that they feel would best represent the neighborhood. We have a lot of residents moving into the neighborhood and that already live there that are looking for more physical activity, so they think that this is a perfect space to go into. So we would like to go on record in support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Gary Webster on behalf of Boston City Council President Michelle Wu. We'd like to go on record of support.
Hold on 1 minute. Go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Ryan Spitz on behalf of City Councilor at Large Michael Flaherty. I'd like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair and the board. My name is Matt Fox. I'm a South End resident and a lawyer in the South End. I think I'm appearing in support of the project.
What's your address, please?
146 Warren Ave.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chairman and the board. My name is Jennifer Adler. I'm a South End resident on Washington Street. I think the neighborhood, especially on Washington Street, could really use an uptake in small businesses to help increase some of the foot traffic in the neighborhood as well.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman and the board, my name is Sophie Madison. I am a South End resident and local business owner right on Tremont Street, and I support this project.
And what's your address?
Home or business? Oh,
Either.
Bond Street. In the South End?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I see two more people. Are you both in support? Yes. Okay, so please just put your name and address on the record and just tell us that you're in support. Okay?
No speaking then, or?
We know it's, you guys are in support. People have kind of said everything that needs to be said.
Fair enough.
So please, put your name and address on the record and tell us, okay? Thank you. Is anybody here in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with BPDA design review.
For signage?
Yes.
South End Landmarks has jurisdiction over it.
Okay, so with the approval. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Good job, Counselor.
Thank you.
Calling BOA 666656, 407 Dudley Street. They're looking to change the use of the first floor unit from residential to office use. Violations Article 50, Section 19. Office use is a conditional use. Name and address for the record, please.
Oh, yes, Peter Vanco, architect, working on behalf of the owners of 407 Dudley. All right, awesome.
So, it looks like you're here for clarification. What happened at the last meeting?
That is correct. We are here for clarification. We've been through the, of course, the ZBA process here. We went to ISD for permit.
Hold on, 1 minute.
Yeah.
What were you proposing? Were you proposing the same thing at the last meeting?
Exactly the same.
And when was, what was the disposition of the case and when was that?
I do not have the exact dates of our approval, but we went through, we got approved, we went through BRA design approval, we did everything that we needed to do. We went to permit at ISD, and here the issue is that we have a building that has 8 units in it. In our submission package to the ZBA, we had 8 units, one of which was a commercial, so it's a mixed-use building. And that was actually required through our community negotiations, all of those things, and it made sense as a mixed-use building. However, in the audio transcript from the hearing, there was no mention of the commercial unit, nor was there...
The question, so what zone is this in?
It is in the Roxbury Neighborhood District.
And what's the zoning? What is it a computer?
St. Patrick's, and it's a mixed use is acceptable. It's a multifamily dwelling.
What is the zoning? Is it an MFR LS or is it a straight MFR?
It's neighborhood shopping. Correct,
So
yeah,
it's neighborhood
NS.
shopping, so the commercial use would be an allowed use?
That's correct.
So you're here just,
For clarification, we were stopped at permitting saying that the commercial unit was not allowed and was not part of the ZBA's approval.
and the commercial use was an office?
Correct.
That is odd, okay? How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
Drawings are adequate. Jeff, why would a commercial use not be allowed in a neighborhood shopping?
For not to answer that question. That's not up to me to make that.
I mean, it's
I
ISD.
wasn't there during the review of the case or what ISD looked at, so I don't want to comment on
And
that.
are these the same plans that were submitted at the last hearing?
Yes.
Okay, so this should have come in as board final arbiter, but is anybody here to speak in support of this?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Joshua McFadden, the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, we are in continued support of this project.
Anybody here in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion approval.
And this, you had BRA design review previously?
That's correct, yes.
So we will continue that design review. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Excellent, thank you.
Madam Chair, you want to go right to the 10:30s? I'm going to call the 10:30s. Are there any deferrals or withdrawals for 10:30? George, address, please.
Number 12 Loring Street, Mr. Fortune.
For the record, calling BOA 668-824, 12 Loring Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, my name is George Moranci. I'm an attorney with the business address of 350 West Broadway in South Boston. Madam Chair, members of the board, we were prepared to proceed today. I was hired in this matter only within the past few weeks. I noted that the refusal letter, which was in response to a permit application filed on August 6th, 2016, correctly cites the zoning district for this property as an H-150 district. Unfortunately, the zoning refusal letter recites violations attributable to Article 68, which was not in effect at the time that the application was made. This project, I believe, enjoys support from abutters and from the elected officials, but proceeding today would be to proceed under an incorrect zoning citation.
So you want to make sure the record's clear?
Yes, what I'd like to do is request a deferral and hopefully a short one so that I can secure a corrected and updated zoning refusal letter, but that will have to be re-advertised. So there needs to be at least 3 weeks to allow for proper notification.
May I have a motion,
Motion for
please?
deferral.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any
April
opposed?
11th.
April 11th. Thank you.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals for 10:30? Ma'am? Okay, sir. Address?
277 Dorchester Street.
For the record, calling BOA 656-951, 277 to 277A Dorchester Street. There's also a companion case, BOA 656-950, 277 to 277A on the building code. Name and address for the record, please.
It's Robert DiPiero. My address?
Yes, please.
38 Sturgis Street,
What
Winthrop,
are you
Mass.
requesting?
Just to defer this project so we can work out with the community.
Did you have a community meeting already?
We did.
And?
They're in opposition.
Okay. Okay. May I have a motion, please? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. You have a date of April 25th.
Well, excuse me, sir, will that give you enough time, April 25th?
It should, yes.
Okay. You're all set,
Thank you.
April 25th.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals for 10:30?
I think I'd have one more, too.
Okay, the address?
It's 124 M Street.
For the record, calling BOA 656-955, 124 M Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Robert DiPiero, 38 Sturgis Street, Winthrop.
What are you requesting?
Just to defer this so we can work out with the community. They're also in opposition.
This is a completely different project, right?
Different project.
Sounds like you're not on a real good roll here.
I know. It's a 0 for 2.
Okay. May I have a motion?
Motion for deferral.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The date, please.
You'll have the same date of April 25th.
That'll work. Thank you.
That was 124 M Street. Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals for 10:30? Hope nobody's outside and they have a deferral, but I'm going to play the first case. Calling BOA 671-592, 24 to 34 Damrell Street. This is to allow a food truck to park and serve food from the parking lot associated with the building at 28 Damrell Street. Violations Article 8, Section 4. Use is not listed, therefore it is forbidden use. Name and address for the record, please. Name and address for the record, please.
Yes. Kong Chin, your address.
Are you here as a translator?
No, I'm not. We're business partners, but she is under her name.
It's under her name, so
Yes.
why don't you guys both put your name and address on the record?
Okay, sure. Alyssa Wong. You want my residence or?
Yeah, it doesn't
130
matter.
Okay, 130 Westbourne Terrace, Brookline, Mass.
Okay? And
My name is Kong Quinn. My address is 34 Russell Park, Quincy, Massachusetts, 02169.
tell us what's being proposed.
So we're proposing to park our food truck in the parking lot at 34 Damrell Street. We are in agreement and have agreement with Damrell Properties, which owns that parking lot. We're looking to park in this area because it's a growing area. There's a lot of businesses
What's on this property?
On this property, it is just a parking lot.
And what's next to it? Is it industrial? Is it?
Yes, right now it's industrial, but they're kind of growing to have more residential areas, shops and things that I've been researching into. Across the way is Ferndale Associates, and then they also have Boston Food Groups. Across the way they have Lucky River Transportation.
Okay, so it's industrial / commercial.
correct.
Okay, it's not. Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Pizzani?
The drawings are adequate.
If you're looking at the building at 28 Damrell, is
Yes.
the food truck being located in the parking on the left or the right?
It is right across the street from it, but it's on Damrell Street.
So
Are you
it's-
also looking to park overnight there, or it's just?
Yes, that is our agreement with them. We are in talks with one of the lease or renters in that property. He has a USDA-approved kitchen downstairs. We are going to use that as our commissary.
And all sale will occur in the parking lot, not on the street?
Correct, in the parking lot.
Okay?
You're not moving the food truck anyway, you're gonna leave it right there?
At the moment, no. We've been working very tirelessly to make sure that this truck is safe to be on the road. Everything inside, kitchen-wise, our equipment is very ready and to go. In terms of our vehicle, I don't trust to drive around the city and park on the streets at the moment, unfortunately. It's been quite stressful for us. But if we're able to keep it stable and produce food and serve to our customers, that will be very helpful to us.
Okay? Any other questions from the board?
Do you anticipate, will you be doing like catering, or do you anticipate just
That
serving
is something
people in
that
the
I
eating
hope to
area?
do in the future because it will definitely bring us a lot of customers and a lot of happy stomachs. But that is something that is in the future. I want to make sure we have clientele first and get our name out there.
So you anticipate serving primarily people walking
In that
distance?
area, yes.
Okay.
There's a lot of
And
people
what
who
kind of
are-
food will you serve?
This will be Sichuanese food with a little twist.
Okay. Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Ellison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support of this application. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, James Chandler, City Council, Bill Linehan's office, wishing to go on record in support.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
Good luck.
Very much. Thank you.
Calling BOA 630-482, 520 Dorchester Avenue. This is to erect a new 8-unit residential building with parking below on combined lots from the existing buildings to be raised. The violations, Article 13, Section 4, dwellings in a non-residential zoning district. Article 14, Section 14-1, lot size. Article 14, Section 14-2, lot area required for additional dwelling units is insufficient. Article 15, Section 1, the floor to area ratio is excessive. Article 17, Section 1, usable open space required is insufficient. Article 18, Section 1, minimum front yard requirement is insufficient. Article 19, Section 1, minimum side yard requirement is insufficient. Article 24, Section 1, off-street loading requirement is insufficient. Article 16, Section 1, height requirement is excessive. 3 stories, the maximum is allowed. In Article 16, Section 1, the building height is excessive. 35 feet is maximum. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is George Moranci. I'm the attorney with the business address of 350 West Broadway in South Boston. I'm joined by my client and the owner of the property, Kevin Gorham. Madam Chair, members of the board, the site here is on Dorchester Avenue in the area of the growth zone, the study area, the Dorchester Avenue study area that the BRA has been planning for many months now. This application was originally filed in June of 2016. As the planning for the growth zone began to take shape, we quickly became impacted by what's going to be a requirement on Dorchester Avenue for widening of the public sidewalks. So we had a couple of delays in this project in terms of getting final BRA design approval for the project, which we did ultimately secure. The design as now currently proposed does in fact have a 10-foot front yard setback, which serves to widen the width of the public sidewalk on Dorchester Avenue. At the time this was filed, the relevant zoning district was, and actually still is, L1/H150. The default is the H150 for a residential building in an L1 district. The lot size is just over 4,500 square feet. This building is the second half, essentially, of a concrete block commercial building, a low-rise building across the street from Andrews Station, between Woodward Street and Dorchester Street. About mid-block, this building starts. Again, it's a low-rise commercial block, commercial concrete block building that runs down to Woodward Street. This board on December 13th, 2015, approved a very similar project at 518 Dorchester Avenue, which is essentially the other half of this commercial building under ownership of a different owner. Kevin Gorham owns this half of the building, which would be demolished, so this entire existing commercial building would be gone. The proposal is for 8 units in a building that would rise to a height of approximately 51 feet. The FAR would be 2.89. There is an easement and passageway in the rear that would allow for vehicular access into an 8-car ground-level parking garage. There is no commercial space associated with this building. This was approved by a unanimous vote of the Andrews Square Civic Association, and I want to be sure to go on record with something that was promised during that meeting, which is that if approved, we would work diligently with the Boston Transportation Department and with the architect in order to try to, as best as can be done, maximize the size of the currently 4 compact parking spaces in the garage, 2 of which are 7 feet wide. There is probably an architectural solution to widening those parking spaces a bit, and we did say that we would commit to that. There are 8 parking spaces, as I say, under the relevant zoning for 8 units. The off-street parking requirement is 7.2 or 7 parking spaces, so we do in fact have an excess space. There would be 8 two-bedroom units. The units are sized between 1,200, 8 two-bedroom units. They're essentially identical units on the left and right side of the core. 1,250 to 1,300-foot units. There would be 2 roof decks for the dedicated use of the forwardmost top 2 units. There would be forward roof decks, I should say, on the Dorchester Avenue side of the building. They would be 12 feet by 12 feet.
Council, 4 roof decks?
2 roof decks, I'm sorry. 2 roof decks, if I misspoke. 2 roof decks for 2 of the top floor units.
And there is a rear passageway, is that shown on the plan?
There's a rear passageway that I believe should be on the site, but it's a passageway of record.
Okay.
When you said there's potentially an architectural solution to expanding the parking spaces, I'm looking at A-1.1. You don't have, where would you get the extra?
Well, I think the lobby area would likely have to be reduced. There are obviously building code requirements for stair widths, but I think the lobby could be reduced a bit. A standard compact space, I think, is, I think we could at least probably make 2 standard-sized compact spaces.
I mean, you've got a doorway there leading in the lobby. I don't know how much, well, I hope you can find a few inches.
Yeah, I mean, I would hate to remove one of the parking spaces that could be done and widen the others, because our off-street requirement is 7, but I'm not sure that that's the perfect solution either.
And this allows for tandem parking for, if they're unit identified.
Yes, they could in fact be, some of them could be tandem spaces.
How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support. This project has been through a pretty extensive community process. We held an abutters meeting. We did communicate with the BPDA to ensure it complies with the .av planning initiative, and it did receive a unanimous vote of support from the Andrews Square Civic Association. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, James Shan with City Council Bill Linehan's office. I would like to echo the comments made by the mayor's office and go on record in support.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Ryan Spitz on behalf of City Council at Large, Michael Flaherty, we'd like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with continued BPDA design review and continued efforts to work on those parking spots, Councilor.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good
Thank you.
luck.
Calling BOA 661-573, 11 Mayhew Street. This is an addition of approximately 2,750 square feet, multi-purpose common space in the rear of an existing school building. Violations, Article 9, Section 1. The proposed addition will be an extension of an existing non-conforming use. Article 65, Section 41, the increase of the area due to the new addition will require additional parking spaces. Article 65, Section 9, the new addition increases the existing non-conforming excessive FAR. And Article 65, Section 9, the new addition increases the violation of existing non-conforming rear yard setback. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Bob Baldwin. I'm at 74 Willow Road in Nahant, Massachusetts, and I have with me Jan Saglio. Address.
My home address? 95 Fair Oaks Avenue in Newton.
Tell us what's being proposed.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This will be a expansion of an existing building. The Boston Collegiate Charter School has been in this location for about 10 years. It's a renovation of a convent and a school building, about 46,000 square feet and about 500 students on campus. This is going to be an infill addition of a single-story cafetorium, we call it. The existing building has no assembly space and really no place for the kids to eat. So we're adding about 3,000, a little less than 3,000 square feet in between where the two buildings exist. There's a connection as it is, and we're sort of filling in around the back.
And what's the use, what is the current use of that space where the fill-in will occur?
Yeah, the current use of that space is really an asphalt courtyard. It's not used as exterior recreational space. There is a small recreational space behind the old convent building, which will remain as open space and recreational. And in addition, there's a parking lot, and this new construction does not take any parking spaces from the existing use, and it doesn't add any students or staff.
How are the plans, Mr. Bassani?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record in strong support. We did hold an abutters meeting. The project was very well received, and this should be a great addition to the community. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Joe McEachran, City Councilor Frank Baker's office would like to go on record in support.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Ryan Spitz, on behalf of City Councilor at Large Michael Flaherty, we'd like to go on record in support.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Minor Perez, representing the Carpenters Union, would like to go on record in support of this project.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval with DPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
Thank you.
Calling BOA 661-023, 22 Roseclare Street. This is to change occupancy from 2 units to 3 units and add full height, 3rd story. Add living space into the basement. Violations, Article 65, Section 8, a 3-family is forbidden in a 2F subdistrict. Article 65, Section 9, insufficient side yard. Article 65, Section 9, number of stories has been exceeded. Article 65, Section 9, the floor-to-area ratio is excessive. Article 65, Section 9, usable open space is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Patrick Mahoney of Adams and Moranci with the business address of 350 West Broadway. I'm joined by my clients and owners of the property, Dan Rubin to my right and Ray Hertog to the far right.
So please tell us what's being proposed.
Madam Chair, we have an existing 2-family and we're expanding the top floor, half-story, to be a full-story 3-family. There is no dimensional change to the front, sides, or rear yard, with the exception of course, of the half-story will be a full-story, and thereby going into the side yard, which would represent the side yard violation. The additional violations would be floor area ratio, and again, the building, there's living space in the basement already, so the eave space from the half-story going to the full story is the full extent of the floor area ratio violation. There is an open space violation cited, although this area is 2F 5,000 and it's neither a single nor 2-family detached building. Accordingly, there is no open space requirement in Article 65 2F 5,000 area. There is an existing 2-car garage with an access point which could be made and will be made with this proposal to be a 3-car garage. And, you know, through an exhaustive community process, we've received a positive vote at the McCormick Community Civic Association. and had a successful on-site abutters meeting to address community concerns.
Okay, tell us, I mean, I know you're here for that third floor, but is that a legal basement use?
It was existing living space. I didn't check to see if there was a building permit pulled for that because we're coming to the board for this. But it's a bi-level unit that's being proposed. It's a bi-level unit today. There's 3 bedrooms in that unit, and it's 1,400 square feet. The intent, of course, would be condos here. So
Can you tell us about the sizes of the other 2 units?
they're approximately 1,000 square feet each, 2 bed, 2 baths. And the first unit would be, there's a concern in the area for families staying in the neighborhood, and so we kept the bi-level unit the way it is in terms of size to ensure that that would be a possibility.
Counselor, I do have a question. I'm looking at drawing A010, and it shows the basement as an existing condition, which is simply storage.
A101, is that what you said, Mr. Bizzani?
A010.
The finished storage space and part of the utility storage space as it's labeled, when I saw it, Mr. Bizzani, I didn't draw the plans, but it was a living room and part of the first floor unit. I do see the discrepancy in the plans.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I raised
Right.
the question, because it says the drawing was done in October of 2016. So the question comes about in terms of how did it get built?
Well, I can't answer that unfortunately, but in any case, what I'm here today to propose is that we,
Well, the purpose of the question is whether or not it should have been cited
for what would,
extension into the basement.
it is, the FAR violation would encompass, there is no new violation as a result of living space in the basement because we have an excessive floor area ratio
But it should
violation.
have been cited as an extension of use not only into the basement, but into the third floor, the proposed third floor. So it should have been two elements in this.
It would be one violation, Madam Chair. It would be extension of floor area ratio, and the use violation from a 2 to a 3 would encompass making the 2-family a 3-family. So in another way of saying, whether or not the basement is actually built legally at the time, the relief would be the same that I'd be seeking. An extension of floor area ratio and a 2 to a 3-family. There isn't an additional violation.
So you're confirming that the use in the basement that you on site visit did in fact show that there is a bedroom down there, that there's living space down there, and that the rear space is for storage, mechanicals, etc.
Yes, I'm confirming there's living space in the basement. I'm confirming it's currently a bi-level unit. I don't recall if there's a bedroom down there, but what I am proposing is that there will be a configuration of the space to provide for utilities, and there is storage down there currently.
And that bedroom in the basement, what is the access would be by the common stairwell? Is there another means of egress?
There's one within the unit, as well as the second means of egress required, and also a window well egress out into the side.
There's one within the unit?
Yep. So there's
In the top right corner, but that's for all of the floors. Is that what you're referring to?
yes, exactly. So the emergency egress would be through the window well of the basement.
No, understood, but there's no direct connection between the first floor unit and the basement.
Oh, there is. The stair on the other side of the bed, it goes up to the first floor. It isn't an additional unit, and if that was the concern, that would be an additional violation. But that's not what's happening here.
Well, yeah, when I looked at 101, I was looking at 010.
Yeah, it's a confusion. Mr. Bazzani had to, the
Oh, I
clarification.
apologize for that.
Any other questions from the board? How long have the applicants owned the building?
We don't own the building yet.
Okay.
It's contingent on the zoning.
Own the building and title because they have a purchase and sale.
Purchase and sale.
Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record in support. We did hold an on-site abutters meeting, and the project was well received. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Joe McGeckran, City Councilor Frank Baker's office would like to go on record in support.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Ryan Spitz on behalf of City Councilor at Large Michael Flaherty, would like to go on record and support.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with continued BPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
Thank you.
Calling BOA 674-997, 416 to 418 West Broadway. This is a change order to reflect a fitness center on the second floor, Suite 202. No work to be done. The violations, Article 68, Section 7. A fitness center is forbidden use in the zoning subdistrict. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Mr. Secretary, Madam Chair, members of the board, Attorney Joe Hanley, McDermott, Quilty and Miller, 28 State Street in Boston. With me to my right is Jody Merrill, who is the owner, proprietor of B-Tone Fitness and the applicant for this case.
Tell us what's being proposed.
Yes, I have, for the record, letters of support from the St. Vincent Lower End Neighborhood Association for this proposal. Background on the site, 416 West Broadway. This is an existing commercial building at the intersection of Broadway and F Street. Once had a rent-a-center business on the lower level. The space that we're looking to change the occupancy is on the second level. It's about 1,800 square feet. It was most recently akin to a fitness use. It was a martial arts studio. And so what Ms. Merrill would like to do is open her third health and fitness business at this site in the city of Boston. She has one in the north end and one in the Back Bay. It is for Pilates and cardio classes and the like, all by booking classes only. They open around 5:30 in the morning, periodically through the day, have classes, and then close when there aren't classes and operate till about 8:30 at night. Again, we think this is a great location. The BPDA had undergone an examination of the zoning in this district, and I think they're also planning to revisit whether fitness use on the second level on Broadway should be allowed and not forbidden. But in any case, unique to this site is the fact that it's a commercial building. It's space that had essentially a fitness use in the past, and it won't be detrimental to the neighborhood in that we've had positive outreach with the neighborhood group. We held an abutters meeting, no opposition, full support, and you have an applicant who has experience running this type of operation in the city of Boston without incident.
And there is a residential use above?
In this building?
Yeah.
No, ma'am.
It's purely commercial.
It's I think, restaurant occupancy proposed for the ground floor, which is separate. She's obviously just a tenant, and then I think there's other commercial uses throughout the building.
Dentist.
Dentist.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board?
Mm-hmm.
Curious, the other two locations, do you need zoning relief for that also? No?
No.
She just met us.
Any other questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record in strong support. The proponent did present to the St. Vincent's Neighborhood Association, and there was a lot of support at that point, and we also held a very successful on-site abutters meeting. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, James Chandler, City Council, Bill Linehan's office, wish to go on record in support.
going to pass?
No, I'm going to oppose.
Okay, is anybody here in opposition?
Members of the board, I'd just like to highlight the, varying degrees of support or opposition with Article 68 here. As you can see, there's an Article 68 variance requested. And, I just hope that the board remains independent, depending on who the applicant is, and the wavering decision that the elected officials take. Thank you.
Can I have, excuse me, can you come back?
Brendan Binkowski,
And your address?
3 Bay State Place, South Boston.
Thank you. Anybody else to speak in opposition?
I just would like to clarify.
No, it's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody else in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
Calling BOA 669-093, 37 Beacon Street. This is a combined unit 62, 63, and 64 to change occupancy from 35 apartments to 33 apartments. Units 62 and 63 previous combined without use of change permit for 63 and 64. Build a new head house, stair, and roof deck for this one newly combined unit, number 62. Violation Article 15, Section 15-1, the floor-to-area ratio is excessive. Name and address for the record, please.
I'm Robert Coffin. I'm the owner, 37 Beacon Street, and I have with me the contractor, Oliver Boucher, and the architect, Joss.
So it looks like essentially what's triggered this violation is the new head house, stair, and roof deck.
That's correct.
So tell us about the details about that.
Okay, so the project, as you'll see on the first sheet, is to add a new deck. The first sheet shows the pre-existing deck. The next sheet shows the plan for a new deck and associated head house. So the violation relates to the expanded floor area ratio caused by the head house. The total size of the head house is 250 square feet, including the stairwell hole, 150 square feet without the stairwell hole, which increases the size of the floor area of the building 0.4% and adds to the floor area ratio, taking it from 3.08 to 3.09 without the stairwell hole, and if you include the stairwell hole, takes it to 3.10. So obviously the request is to have a variance for that increased, very small amount of increased floor area ratio. If one moves to the next couple of sheets, it shows the what the head house will look like. And the key points are it's very unobtrusive from anywhere which you can see at any public space. So you can go through the next couple of sheets and show it's pretty small. It's actually an additional head house in addition to 2 current head houses, one for the elevator and one for the common staircase up to the common roof deck. If one looks at the next couple of sheets, you'll see that there's plenty of precedent for such additions. There's a couple highlighted. These are very close to the building in those colour photographs. If one then moves to the next sheet, one sees where it is most visible from any public place, which is on the common, and the photograph is only taken from a long way away because that's where you can see it from. If you're closer up, the perspective stops you being able to see it. And as you can see, it's very modest and is clearly lower in height and relatively small as compared to the rest of the building. If you move to the next sheet, we have done pretty extensive neighbourhood outreach in regard to the project. We have first of all got the approval of the building, including the residents and the condo trust. We held an all-building meeting. We have the non-opposition of the Beacon Hill Civic Association, having presented to that group twice. The non-opposition letter, while it was agreed some months ago, was actually only sent in to you this morning, so you will have that added to the files, but the Beacon Hill Civic Association is not opposed. We have done a lot of additional outreach to neighbours, reaching out to all the abutters that we can see, sending them packages of information with no oppositions received. And the Mayor's office also had an abutters meeting following which no oppositions were received. So in summary, on the last sheet, really that just sets out the project as a whole, which we think is a very modest increase in floor area ratio of 0.01. And we hope, therefore, that you will be minded to think it's reasonable.
How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Giselle Guerrero with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services would like to go on record in support.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Yes, my name is Renee Nylands, and I live at 35 Beacon Street, and I'd like to speak in opposition. I believe that they said that there was outreach to neighbors. There was no outreach to our particular building, and there's 5 unit holders. And I have spent the past 20 years in Beacon Hill between living at 35 and 36 Beacon Street. I understand that there is an existing roof deck on 37 Beacon because I've been up there many times. The existing roof deck is very substantial in size, and my concern, both from a budding neighbor as well as looking from the park onto the residential properties there on Beacon Street, is that the head house will be able to be seen. I saw the photographs of it at a subsequent Beacon Hill Civic Association, and depending on the angle of the photos, personally, I didn't find it unobtrusive.
Thank you.
I have no objections, though, to any other items in the matter.
Yes, Is anybody else here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with continued BP, no design review on this?
Beacon Hills.
Beacon Hill, so motion to approve with continued work with Beacon Hill.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
Thank you very much.
10 minutes, please. 10 minutes. Let's skip it and go to the next one.
I'm not ready for that then.
The board will go into recess and will return back at 11:30. Anybody who's here to request a deferral or withdrawal for 11:30 should be prepared to speak immediately when we reopen the hearing. Okay? Board of Appeal is back in session. Are there any withdrawals or deferrals?
For 11:30.
For 11:30.
Want to take a job too? Address?
336 Chelsea Street.
For the record, calling BOA 631-069, 336 Chelsea Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Richard Lins, 1216 Bennington Street, East Boston, on behalf of the petitioner. Madam Chair, we did request a previous deferral for this. This is a little bit more of a complicated project. We are proposing to relocate an existing funeral home to a new site. The proposal has changed since the board heard that last. It's also involved with an Article 80 project where the current funeral home sits. We did have an opportunity to address a number of concerns from the neighbors relative to parking. However, we believe that the parking arrangement that we're proposing that involves the Article 80 project may require a notice of project change with the BPDA. So we're in the
how much time do you think you need?
I think we can get the notice of it's a very simple change. It's actually adding parking to the existing development project. So I think we could have it done within 45 days. Hopeful.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I have,
You have a date of May 9th.
Thank you.
Address, please.
2 Laurel Street. I'm Tim Shan, building designer.
I'm sorry, 2 Laurel?
2 Laurel Street, yes.
For the record, calling BOA 657-861, 2 Laurel Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Tim Shan, I'm at 9 Wall Street in Charlestown, and I'm representing the people, my clients at 2 Laurel Street. We're just working with the immediate abutter on building bulk issues. We've had a meeting that went really well. Turns out that the abutter is my client as well. So we just need a few more meetings to make both my clients and the abutter happy. And 45 days, 60 days, whatever it is, I'm sure we'll get there.
And this is all for 90 square feet?
Yes.
For a 90 square foot
90
bathroom addition?
Yes, it'll probably get smaller, but yes.
Okay.
Make a
Okay.
motion for deferral.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The date, please?
You also have a date of May 9th.
Thank you very much.
Address, please.
3339 Ward Street.
For the record, calling BOA 526-603, 33 to 39 Ward Street. Name and address for the record.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Niall Sutphin, I'm the project architect. My address is 197 8th Street in Charlestown. This is an Article 80 project. I'm here to ask for a deferral. We are still hopefully in the final stages now, working with BRA staff and neighborhood representatives to finalize the dimensions of the building.
Niles, when do you expect this to go to the BRA board?
I expect that we'll go to the BRA board in April.
In April, okay.
Madam Chair, make a motion for deferral.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The date, please?
This will be May 9th as well.
Thank you.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals for 11:30? Hearing none, we go back to the 10:30 cases. Calling BOA 650-247, 266 Commercial Street. Are you moving forward?
Yes.
Okay, there's also a building code, so bear with me here. There's quite a bit to read into the record. This is a change of occupancy to include wireless communication, installation of a rooftop-mounted wireless communications equipment consisting primarily of 1 of 4 antennas concealed within a 4x8 false fiberglass chimney and mounted on a new steel ballast frame on the building rooftop. A center line elevation of 28'6" and above ground level, 4 antennas concealed within a 4'8" false fiberglass chimney and mounted in the same steel ballast frame at center line of 30 feet plus above ground level. 12 RRH and 3 junction boxes mounted to the same steel ballast, and the power telco cables running from antennas across the roof-mounted cable tray on sleepers down a vertical cable tray to a building 13 by 8 by 4'6" fenced equipment located adjacent to the south side of the building at ground level. 2 equipment cabinets, an air conditioning panel, and 1 storage unit with a fenced-in equipment compound. The violations, Article 86, Section 6, any antenna in a residential district is a conditional use and insufficient setback from the roof edge. On the building code, this is section 780 CMR 1027 exists Discharge, the exit discharge shall provide a direct and unobstructed access to a public way. The proposed fence and equipment cabinet reduce the egress width by 2 feet, which is not allowed. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Elizabeth Mason, 300 Trade Center Drive in Woburn, Massachusetts. I'm representing Cellco Partnership doing business as Verizon Wireless. Verizon is proposing to install a wireless communication...
Hold on.
Yes.
When there is an appeal and a request for variance from the building code, we usually look directly at the building code request. So can you respond to that? This is about the exit discharge and the reduction of in 2 feet of that egress point.
Yes, I
So,
can respond
please.
directly to that first, and I'm going to use photo simulations that I believe were submitted to the board. Basically, the issue is that we're proposing to put our equipment cabinet in the area where the existing restaurant's recycling area is located. There's an existing staircase on the side of the building with supports that come down, and as you can see, this is looking down the alleyway. I guess this is looking west from Commercial Street in front of the building. This is the existing building. These are the existing supports for the staircase. This is the existing area, closet, basically, outside closet, where the current owner of the building puts his recycling from the restaurant and stores other things, not sure. The building code issue is not something that Verizon Wireless is creating. It's actually a pre-existing issue, is my understanding.
So please tell us what's the proposed view.
The proposal is to, let's see, probably easier if I hang on to that. We are adding this next piece, basically a second closet going back down the alleyway. However, the issue with egress is created by this pole, and we're not moving that pole. There's actually room there to go through, and we actually tailored our plans after meeting with the abutters who live in this building, 50 Fleet Street. I had some email exchanges back and forth. We met with them at the abutters meeting. We also met with 1 or 2 of the residents of that building on site to discuss what we could do here. We pulled the width of the closet back so that there was more room on either side of this pole.
So what's the distance between the side of that building and the front of your cabinet? What's the distance?
There I'd have to defer to Craig Bledner from Deviations Engineering, who is the site engineer. Yes, sorry.
It's currently 3 foot 9 inches. But to the pole from the corner, yes, 3 foot 9 inches.
And the cabinets open out, they don't slide?
Correct, they open out, but they, they'll only, there will be Verizon Wireless technicians, visiting the cabinets perhaps once a month. So the doors will remain closed except during those visits, and it's really just an hour visit to the site to make sure that everything's functioning as required.
So what's happening with the restaurant recycle?
They have agreed just to kind of scrunch their use of the space so that we can fit in there as well.
Will their stuff be behind the Verizon equipment?
No, their stuff will just move forward, and our stuff will fit into this space. So it's sort of a space sharing agreement, plus we're taking a little bit more space, but we're not expanding or narrowing the existing.
So they'll need to have access. So the Verizon technician may only come once a month, but the restaurant people will be doing it regularly.
Right, and that's their cabinet, and they use that now, as far as I know.
But for the same access, same doors in the front?
Different doors. Their doors are here, and then our doors, that dark presence is their closet, and then ours is this one. So those will.
The question is, are you maintaining that the existing building has the building code violation?
I guess yes, I am, I guess.
So then the next question is, has the existing building been cited for that building code violation?
No, not that I'm aware of.
So therefore, the building code violation is based only on what is being done for your project.
No, the existing building code violation, to the extent that it was called out by ISD, would be there whether we were moving our equipment into the property or not. The existing building code violation is as a violation of the post that holds up the...
I know that the ISD letter and the plans examiner specifically cites
Yes.
your project. I want to make a motion to deny the building code relief. You can always go to the state and see if they'll grant it to you, but it is in the north end. It is very tight to begin with. It looks as if those buildings are wood clad, and it's a life safety issue as far as I'm concerned. And whether that falls on you or the building owner is another issue, but I don't think that this board should be in the position of exacerbating known building code violations.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Just a quick question on that. Is that wood or is that steel?
It's wood.
It is wood.
Yes.
And it does say here that the proposed fence and equipment cabinet reduce the egress by 2 feet,
No,
which is
it's
not allowed.
2 feet.
I mean, 2 feet,
2
right.
feet, right.
Okay. So let's get on to the core request, which is the wireless communication. So please tell us what's being proposed.
We're proposing to put 8 antennas on the roof of the building along with supporting equipment that will be in 2 sets of 4. They'll be camouflaged behind a fiberglass chimney, basically fiberglass shielding that's painted to look like a chimney. I've got pictures of that as well if you wish to see those. This is a frontal shot of the restaurant as it currently exists. And this is what Verizon Wireless is proposing. There are antennas that will be basically enclosed within those fiberglass faux chimneys. There will also be, the antennas will be on a new steel ballast frame. And you can see pieces of that coming down there, but it'll be painted so that it blends in with the side of the building.
You know, you're new to our board. We've seen these before, and we're not big fans. We have in the past for the regular consultants who do come, really look for ways to minimize the visual impact of all these miscellaneous attachments to buildings. How are the plans, Mr. Bizzarri?
Well, the plans are generic and adequate, but again, the issue is the notion of doing fiberglass enclosures that are painted. I mean, the problem with that is it just doesn't stand up. More other proposals have come back, and in fact using faux brick or whatever, so that you have a hard surface that can sustain weather. Because, you know, basically, you're across the street from the ocean.
If I may, the purpose of the fiberglass is that it's RF-friendly fiberglass. It allows the antennas to actually serve their purpose.
I understand that. I understand. But it's the
full brick won't.
Can I just ask, is this the best location you could find for your antenna?
This is where we would like it to be. Yes, this is based on our. I mean, I brought my RF expert who can testify to the coverage provided if the board wants to hear that testimony.
But it's not at the highest point. I mean, usually.
That's correct, and it doesn't necessarily need to be at the highest point. Here, based on where the antennas are situated, it covers what Verizon Wireless needs it to cover. And
No, I think you're missing the point. It may be perfectly functional from Verizon's point of view. If it's higher, it's less visible, and I think we're concerned about the visual impact.
No, I certainly understand that. And we're proposing what Verizon needs at this spot to fulfill its coverage needs to meet its requirements under the Federal Telecommunications Act of 1996, which is provide service coverage in the area.
Again, I think the chair was asking if maybe there's a better spot. That you may have done what you need to do at that spot, but maybe there's a better spot in terms of visual impact on the community.
We have basically done this is what we have done to mitigate the visual impacts of what we're proposing.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Maria Lanza, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record in support. The applicant has completed a full community process and has the support of the North End Waterfront Neighborhood Council, as well as working with the abutters before and after that. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, to give City Council staff on that TV service. Since the community is supporting this project, this council wants to go on record in support as well.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
I will reluctantly make a motion to approve. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm opposed.
I'm opposed too, so it's been denied. We totally understand the need, but we think there's a better location for this. And you may, as a company, need to do better due diligence on finding a location that's more, that'll have less visual impacts. Okay, thank you.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 642-291, 47 Dwight Street. This is to remove an upper-level existing roof deck to remain, frame and install a new dormer. The violations, Article 64, Section 34, restricted roof structure regulations. Name and address for the record, please.
Beth McDougall, McDougall Architects, Chelsea.
Jerry DiPiero Construction, Boston.
Tell us what's being proposed.
We are proposing to take the existing mansard roof and basically tilt it up to make a dormer. There are neighbors on, not adjacent, but one over, that have done the same thing.
And how much square footage does that bring you?
2 feet by 16, 32 feet.
32 square feet.
Okay, and the existing roof deck is to remain.
Yes.
Yes.
How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Drawings are adequate.
Is anybody, any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal? Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please? Oh, Sam? Please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Sam Chambers, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support. The applicant has completed the community process, and I do want to thank them for continuing to speak with their neighbors about this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
Thank you.
Calling BOA 661-637, 3 to 5 Quincy Court. There's also building code BOA 661-640, 3 to 5 Quincy Court. This is expansion of a living space into the basement area. Construct a one-story, 10-foot-high vertical addition onto the existing building. The space will add 329 square feet of living space to each of the 2 existing third-floor units and currently 578 square feet each. The addition will be a type of pre-construction. Firewall will be maintained. Violations, Article 54, Section 12, dwelling units in basement is forbidden. Article 54, Section 13, a floor-to-air ratio is excessive. Article 54, Section 13, rear yard is insufficient. Article 54, Section 18, roof structure restrictions. For building code, Section 780 CMR 705.85, opening of exterior wall, window openings are not permitted within 3 feet of the property line. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning. William Ferrullo, McDermott, Quilty Miller at 28 State Street. To my left is the owner of the property, Richard Travaglioni. To my right is Arthur Chus, the architect. I will point out first, because it will address the building code issue. There's been an amended plan filed, which I believe is here today in front of the board. We have additional copies with us. The building code issue had to do with a rooftop vertical addition that has been removed from the amended plan. So the building code is violation is no longer applicable.
May I have a motion, please?
Motion to deny building code relief.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Does Mr. Pisani have the most recent plans?
Mr. Pisani, I believe you do have the most recent plans.
What are the revision dates, Arthur? 10? 10/7/16. Yes. Okay.
Okay, so please go ahead.
At this point, to explain, this property is a three-story building with 6 units. The original proposal was to add living space in the basement so that we could duplex the basement with the first floor. That is still part of the revised plan. The second half of it was to add a rooftop vertical addition to the third floor. That has been removed. So therefore, in removing that, 2 of the violations that you see before you, which is the roof structure violation, no longer applies as well because we will not be adding to the roof. We would ask that that be left on because, in fact, there are HVAC condensers going on the roof, but it doesn't apply any longer to a structure. And in this district, the ISD has, in fact, requested 5418 relief for condensers on the roof. So we are asking that be left in, limited to the condensers. And
Is the violation that's been reduced or eliminated?
The violation that no longer applies is 54.8, I'm sorry, strike that, is 5413 rear yard insufficient because the rooftop addition was at the rear of the building.
Okay, so tell us what's being proposed today.
What's being proposed today is that we be allowed to place living area approximately 450 square foot per unit in the basement so that we can duplex that with the smaller area on the first floor, making a duplex apartment on 2 sides of the building, first floor and basement. So that's the limitation now.
What will be the total unit size then of each of those duplexes?
It's 450 in the basement, and the first floor is, I believe, less than that because of the staircase. I'll have the architect give you...
About 900 square feet.
900 square feet, okay. And it'll still remain as a 6-family, so it's just
Yes,
the extension into the basement.
Number
that
of
you're-
units does not change, it's just the extension of the first floor use of the basement.
And what will be in the basement?
The basement has a family room and laundry and a bathroom.
Family and bathroom. Pardon?
It walks out, it's a walkout.
It's,
It's a walkout.
yeah, full walkout at the rear.
Okay. And the rear it's not an enclosed rear. There is access outside to the street or something.
It's a courtyard in the back. The access in the front is semi below grade, meaning we just gave you some photographs of the prior condition of the building. What you can see is that that basement has windows in it that are approximately 3/4 size as opposed to full size, so it's not fully below. So even though you can access the rear is a courtyard that does not get to the street.
How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
The drawings are adequate. I do have one question. Arthur, there's a bedroom that is 6'10" wide.
At the lowest point to work by the windows.
No, the question is that I always thought that the minimum dimension for a habitable room, especially bedrooms, was 8 foot.
Yes.
So the question is, how is that really a 2-bedroom?
That can be reworked based on the,
Okay, you can take it out of the...
window space. is the
Okay.
problem.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Maria Lanza, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record in support. The applicant has worked with the abutters as well as going to the North End Waterfront Neighborhood Council. And at this time, we would like to support based on the work and the changes that they've made with the abutters. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, we have a speak on Cecile. Since the applicant changes on the plans at the request of the neighbors. The council wishes to be recorded in support of this proposal.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to grant the relief requested with a proviso, two provisos. One is BPDA design review, and the second proviso is that no room shall be have less dimension than the code requires.
I'm sorry, could you just repeat that for me?
No room, no habitable room shall have less dimension than the code requires. And that is in particular attention to a 6'10" wide.
So it's basically supposed to meet the code requirements. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
You're
you.
all set with those provisos.
Calling BOA 664-204, 11 Alston Street. This is to replace existing rear decks and egress stairs with a 9x10 deck and spiral staircase. Install a roof deck, frame and finish 2 bedrooms and 3/4 bath in an existing basement space, approximately 640 square feet. The violations, Article 62, Section 8, usable open space is insufficient. Article 62, Section 62-8, rear yard is insufficient. And Article 62, Section 8, the floor-to-air ratio exceeds the allowed area. Name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, Richard Newell, 9 Duck Line Road, East Falmouth, Massachusetts. And my family is the current owner of the property. And just to put it in perspective, this was my childhood home. I lived in the building from the time I was 3 till I was 17 and left to go in the United States Army for 8 years. My mother lived in the building for 54 years after that, and we've been taking care of the building. And our objective is to make some improvements, interior and exterior, that will allow the building to be passed on to my children and grandchildren.
Sorry,
And
sir,
Christopher
did you
Doonan,
put your name and address on the record?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And Christopher Doonan, my architect, will talk us through the
So
technical aspects
please,
of the
anybody
case.
who's speaking, put your name and address on the record.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Christopher Doonan, Doonan Architects, the architect for the project. So we're looking to increase the interior living space by finishing the basement, adding 2 bedrooms and a 3/4 bathroom. One of those bedrooms would be replacing an existing first floor bedroom. That first floor bedroom would just become expanded living space at the first floor. So we would be making the basement code compliant by, we want to excavate down so we have the proper ceiling height for habitable space. We're going to have the proper egress windows and areaways to get out of there. And just as I said, 2 bedrooms, 3/4 bath, egress stair to get down to the basement and out of the basement.
So your total addition to the property is
640 square feet. Correct.
And that impacts your rear yard violation, but that's an existing rear yard violation, is it?
That portion of what we're applying for does not impact the rear yard. We are looking to add a roof deck at the top of the 2-story piece in the back. That roof deck would be access to the 3rd level. And we're going to replace an existing egress stair from the 3rd floor and the 2nd floor down into that rear yard. That egress stair is non-code compliant. It's in a state of disrepair. It's approximately 120 square feet in footprint. It's tight to the rear yard line and the side property line. So we want to replace that with a code compliant spiral staircase, which reduces the amount of nonconformity.
And how many units in the building?
There are 3.
This is a 3-family, and this spiral staircase would function as a second means of egress?
For the 3rd and 2nd levels, correct.
How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. On behalf of Chris Breen, we'd like to go on record in support. It's my understanding there was an abutters meeting that was held with a majority of people in support, with just some concerns around the size of the roof deck. Thank you.
I would just like to add...
Hold on.
Apologize.
Judy?
Go ahead. Salma Martinez's office. I attended the abutters meeting. There was significant support for this application, except for one direct abutter who had a problem with the size of the deck. He did reduce the size of the deck, so therefore we wish to go on record in support as well.
Thank you. Is anybody here still in support? Excellent.
My name is Jim McHugh. I live at 64 Pearl Street, immediately in back. The builder has been very forthcoming about what he plans to do. The main concern is noise from the expanded roof deck. They've agreed to put in a lease limitation on 6 people at a time on that roof deck, which is perfectly adequate. But I'd invite the board to consider making that a condition of the allowance. Obviously, that good faith promise doesn't carry forward legally if the property is sold. But whether or not you do that, I'm in support of the project.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval, BPDA designer.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You're all set with that proviso. Good luck.
Calling BOA 668-392, 1A to 1B Curtis Street. This is an erected addition and change auction to include 2 offices and 6 dwelling units. The violation is Article 53, Section 56. There is insufficient off-street parking for the proposed residential use. Article 53, Section 56. There is insufficient off-street parking for the proposed office use. Article 53, Section 9. The proposed construction has an excessive FAR. Article 53, Section 9. The proposed construction has an excessive number of stories. Article 53, Section 9, there is an insufficient side yard setback. Article 53, Section 9, there is an insufficient rear yard setback. Article 53, Section 8, office use is a forbidden use in a 2F 2000 subdistrict. And Article 53, Section 8, multifamily residential is a forbidden use in a 2F 2000 subdistrict. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Excuse me. Richard Lins, 1216 Bennington Street. On behalf of the petitioner, with me is Julia Sokol, who is the principal of the entity that owns this property. Presently, Madam Chair, this property involves a single-story commercial structure that occupies half the lot. This is a corner lot located in the Orient Heights section of East Boston. Our proposal is to create a mixed-use building that would have smaller residential units, studio-sized units above, with 2 professional offices located at the grade level. We had undergone an extensive community process with the neighborhood. This project started out a little bit different, and based upon a lot of the input that we heard, it's one of the reasons why we're proposing all studios, as well as no parking, believe it or not, in East Boston. One of the issues, believe it or not, with respect to the parking question was how many curb cuts we would have to add to the site. This site is directly across the street from a series of garages that already have a pretty wide curb cut, and on-street parking becomes very limited as a result of that. The neighbors specifically requested that we consider a proposal that did not have parking, and one of the reasons why we reduced this down to studio units. The location of this building is within a block walking distance of Wood Island train station, and this would certainly offer an opportunity for that type of market who's not necessarily looking for a very large unit, something a little bit more affordable with close proximity to public transportation. Mr. Sokol is a real estate professional as well as an attorney. His office is presently located at the site and would continue at that location, and the additional space would be used at grade level for the professional office use. I can run through the zoning relief, which runs the board for this particular site.
This is a 2F 2000 subdistrict,
That's correct.
so commercial use is not allowed. Tell us why this should be an exception.
Did you say professional use not allowed? Professional office?
Yes, it's one of your violations at site.
Yeah. So the existing use that's there today, actually the history of that has been a garage use as well as an office and warehousing type use. So we would be continuing with the pre-existing non-conforming use, just using a larger portion of the lot for that use. Directly across the street is commercial use. There's retail, as well as retail directly across Bennington Street, and there's manufacturing located there as well. So there is, even though this is a 2F 2000 district, there are a number of other uses which would suggest that commercial activity is something that's not uncommon for that location, as well as multifamily.
And was that office use that's been existing, was that a legal office use, or was it something that happened over the years?
Now, my understanding is that the office use was accessory to the garage use and parking lot use that existed on the site historically, and that's just continued only as office use. The garage use would arguably be abandoned at that location.
So this is 6 units. How many square feet is the lot?
The lot is 2,500 square feet. The total amount of square footage that we're proposing with the commercial and residential is 4,800. 2,000 would be roughly 2,000 for the commercial and about 1,800 for the residential portion. One of the requests that the neighborhood had made is taking the building and pulling it back from the abutting property on Bennington Street to give a little bit more of a buffer. We agreed to make that modification. In addition, the elimination of a roof deck was also requested by the neighborhood, something that we agreed to comply with as well.
So tell us about the unit sizes.
So each of the units are roughly anywhere from 450 to 590 square feet, depending upon the unit. I understand that 450 square feet is the minimum recommended size by the BPDA for metro units. Close proximity to public transportation, we believe, would qualify for that limitation.
The structure that's on the property now will remain, and the new thing will be built around it?
Yeah, we intend, and it has some good bones, so we intend to reuse that existing structure, and provided it meets all the...
I'm just curious, from a design point of view, it's not so much a zoning, why not just take it down and have a whole consistent design of it with a new building?
We could. I think that the idea was to try to rework with what was there. There is a slab that's presently existing for that. Provided it meets the integrity requirements, we could certainly reuse a portion of that building.
How are the plans, Mr. Casati?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Claudia Correa from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support of this proposal. They went through an extensive community process, so they presented to the Orange Heights Civic Association, which voted in favor. During the abutters meetings, they talked about the parking, and yes, most of the abutters were okay with not having parking. As a matter of fact, they're the ones who suggested it, so there were no curb cuts. Also, this proposal is right around the corner from the Wood Island T-stop. Thank you.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Good afternoon, Madam Chairman of the Board. I'm a resident of East Boston. I live around the corner, and I'm going to speak in opposition to this proposal because of the density and the closeness to other structures. Thank you.
Sir, will you put your name and address on the record, please?
Excuse me?
Can you please put your name and address on the record?
Yes, my name is Anthony Giosa. I'm at 653 Saratoga Street.
Thank you. Is anybody else here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
To approve the BDA design review. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? In the design review, can we make sure those grates come down, please?
Calling the next cases. Calling BOA 666-376, 7 Haynes Street. There are 3 companion cases, BOA 666-378, 9 Haynes Street, BOA 666-379, 11 Haynes Street, BOA 666-381, 13 Haynes Street. This is for 7 Haynes Street. Erect a single-family row house on a newly created 1,100 square foot lot. The violation is Article 25, Section 5. No code compliant information was provided. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient rear yard setback. Article 53, Section 9, excessive FAR. Article 53, Section 9, maximum allowed height has been exceeded. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient open space. This is for 9 Haynes. This is to erect a single-family row house on a newly created 950 square foot lot. The violation is Article 25, Section 5. No code compliant information has been provided in an AE flood hazard zone. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient lot size. Article 53, insufficient lot width. Article 53, insufficient lot frontage. Article 53, excessive FAR. Article 53, Section 9, maximum allowed height has been exceeded. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient open space. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient rear yard setback. This is for 11 Haynes Street. This is to erect a single-family row house on a newly created 950 square foot lot. The violation is Article 25, Section 5. No compliant information has been provided. Article 53, insufficient lot size. Article 53, insufficient lot frontage width. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient rear yard setback. Article 53, Section 9, excessive floor to area ratio. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient open space. Article 53, Section 9, maximum allowed height has been exceeded. And Article 53, Section 9, insufficient side yard setback. And this is for 13 Haines Street. This is combined parcels and subdivided to create 4 separate lots containing 875 square feet, 950 square feet, 950 square feet, and 1,100 square feet. The violations, Article 53, Section 9, insufficient lot size. Article 53, Section 9, excessive FAR. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient open space. Article 53, Section 56, off-street parking is insufficient. None has been proposed. Article 53, Section 9, lot frontage is insufficient. And Article 53, Section 9, lot width is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Richard Lins, 1216 Bennington Street, on behalf of the petitioner. With me is Wyatt Comerin, who is the principal of the entity that owns the property. He has also worked with the architect on the design of this project. Notwithstanding the lengthy list of violations that have been cited by the Secretary, I believe this proposal is a little bit more, or a little less complicated than what is presented to the board. By way of just brief overview, our clients purchased a total of 4 lots, beginning with 13 Haines Street. 13 Haines is a pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling. The 3 lots located to the right of that are each 1,000 square feet, and each of those lots in their own right would be buildable under Article 53 of the zoning code. This is a 3F 2000 district, which provides that a minimum of 1,000 square feet is required for a single-family dwelling, and therefore each of these would be in compliance with the provisions of Article 53. However, in order to address a number of issues that came up during the community process, it was essential to assemble and redivide the lots into different sizes in order to accommodate a setback on the right side for the building furthest to the right of the property. Nevertheless, each property will accommodate a single-family row house style dwelling, which is very consistent with the remaining buildings along Haines Street. One of the issues that was raised during the community process was the parking. Each of these will all be capable of at least 1 parking space, if not 2, based upon the design that we're proposing. The neighborhood in this instance actually requested that we consider doing no parking for this project. We did not believe that was essential, or at least not necessary, based upon the fact that we have adequate space located at that level, and also its proximity to the floodplain, which would eliminate or restrict severely the amount of habitable space that could be put at that level. In addition, we were asked to consider a number of mitigation measures for the surrounding condominium association to the rear of this property as well as to the right. We've worked very closely with them very early on in this process. We've come to an agreement with them where we've memorialized that when they've expressed their support to the mayor's office, that we've addressed a number of their concerns, including landscaping, tree planting, and other measures that will certainly assist with softening the impacts from this project. We think it's a very modest proposal, considering that many of these projects would likely see a multifamily type proposal for this site. That was the specific request of the neighborhood, that we consider doing single-family row houses, and this is a design that the neighborhood supported. We did have an opportunity to present this to the Jeffreys Point Neighborhood Association. On multiple occasions, they voted overwhelmingly to support this proposal, and I provided a letter to the board relative to that. I'm happy to answer any questions on the design issues or the zoning relief that's necessary.
Liz, what is happening at 13 Haines? That is, well, how many square feet is that currently as a lot size?
So 7 Haines is 13?
13 Haines.
Oh, 13 Haines.
Yes, that looks like it's an existing structure.
So that's a non-conforming, roughly around, it's about 900 square feet or so, 850 to 900 square feet.
So the subdivision includes, it's taking land, property, or land from 13 and redistributing it further to the other parcels? How is that happening?
I think we've essentially taken all 4 lots and redistributed to make the width of the proposed townhouses or row houses consistent in size, and then provided a 3-foot setback on the furthest most right property. So there is a redivision of all the lot lines, but it's form over substance at this point based upon our proposal for single families on each of the lots.
How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Claudia Correa from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, we would like to go on record in support of this application. They went through an extensive community process. They presented to the Jeffreys Point Neighborhood Association, also their planning and zoning subcommittee. In addition, they met with the abutters numerous times, during which they made design changes. And they have been working very closely with their direct abutters, which is the Landfall Condo Association. And we only ask that they continue to work in regards to landscaping and buffering. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval with BPDA design review for all three addresses.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
Thank you. Calling next two cases, calling BOA 647-825, 161 Layton Street. And also a companion case, BOA 647-823, 163 Layton Street.
Madam Chair, members of the board, my firm did work on this project years ago. We have no relationship with the present owner at the time. It's best that I
Thank you.
This is direct a fully sprinkled,
Go ahead.
this is direct a fully sprinkled new 6-unit residential building on a combined lot. For a new 3-family to be erected on the same lot, both buildings to share a driveway and parking of 13 total spaces. The violation is Article 53, Section 57, 2 or more dwelling units on the same lot. Article 53, Section 8, use of regulations is forbidden. Article 53, Section 9, excessive FAR. Article 53, Section 9, number of stories allowed have been exceeded. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient side yard. And Article 53, Section 54, screening and buffering. This is for 163 Layton, erect a fully sprinkled new 3-family house on a combined lot, a new 6-unit residential building to be created on the same lot. Both buildings to share a driveway and parking. Violations, Article 53, Section 57, 2 or more dwelling units on the same lot. Article 53, Section 8, the use of regulations is forbidden. Article 53, Section 9, excessive FAR. Article 53, Section 9, number of stories allowed have been exceeded. And Article 53, Section 54, screening and buffering. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Richard Lins, 1216 Bennington Street, East Boston. On behalf of the petitioner, with me is Tony Daly of Daly Property, who's the principal of the owner entity. Madam Chair, by way of brief history, this was before this board some time back, which this board had approved the same number of units on this, pretty much the same setup. That variance had lapsed, and there was no renewal ever requested. Mr. Daly is the new owner of this property and is essentially proceeding with the same concept that was originally approved by this board, with the exception of adding additional parking. The original proposal proposed 9 parking spaces. This proposal shows 13. This is located in the 2F 4,000 district, where the minimum lot size is 4,000 square feet. As the board can see, there's a total of 12,000 square feet here. The idea is to combine those lots to create one single lot for 12,000 square feet and propose the 9 units that are shown in the plan. The relief that's necessary, obviously based on a 2F 4,000, would involve not only the use as multifamily, but multiple structures on a lot, but the floor to area ratio would be exceeded. In this case, the maximum is 0.8. We're at 0.876 based upon the square footage we're proposing, which is very consistent with the surrounding neighborhood. I would point out that that side of Layton Street is home to a number of multifamily dwellings. The architecture that we're proposing and the style and design is very consistent with what exists on Layton Street presently. In addition, the parking, although would require 15, almost 16 parking spaces, our proposal is to include 13. We did hear from the neighborhood that they'd actually ask us to consider reducing that if we could. We're happy to work with the neighborhood on doing that. We did take an opportunity to have, again, extensive community outreach with the Orion Heights neighborhood, as well as direct abutters. In this case, the direct abutters who are located at a lower grade along Ashley Street. There are 2 specific properties involved. On our site plan, you can see a setback of about 15 feet That is where the retaining wall will be located. One of the properties along Ashley Street actually has their home set back very close to their rear property line. We've worked on an arrangement where we'll provide them an easement to allow them exclusive use of that area that essentially becomes their backyard that doesn't exist. We will provide the landscaping, seeding, and drainage so that they will have the availability of some open space for their own property. We only require access to maintenance for the retaining wall and have agreed to certain concessions, including the type of fencing and landscaping that we would do around the property. This did go before the Orion Heights Neighborhood Council on 3 occasions. At their voting meeting, I believe back in October, November, they voted to support this proposal based upon the commitments that we've made to the abutters as well as the design that we've agreed to.
What's the square footage of the entire lot?
12,000.
It's 12,000, and it's, okay, 6 family. Okay.
Total square footage of the units is 10,521, which comes out to about a .876 on the FAR, slightly above what the allowed.
Give us a unit breakdown and the
Sure.
square footage.
Sure. On the 6-unit, each of those are 2 bedrooms, all around 1,100, square feet. And then on the 3-unit, the range is from 1,000 to about 1,200 square feet. Again, all 2 bedrooms.
And how is this different from the original proposal?
Design-wise, it's the same. It's a 6 and a 3 with a driveway separating or in between the 2 buildings. The difference would be that the amount of parking spaces actually increased under this proposal. We're proposing only 9 parking spaces originally.
Pardon?
We're only proposing 9 parking spaces originally, one per unit. This is now 13.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Claudia Correa from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, we would like to go on record in support of this application. They work closely with the Orion Heights Civic Association, also with the abutters. We ask that they continue to work with the rear abutters on Ashley Street. Thanks.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? So the BRA recommendations, as Jeff had suggested earlier, are advisory to this board as it has not gone to the full board review, BRA board approval process. However, this recommendation is consistent with what was approved prior, that parking be allowed for 9 vehicles. That would be most appropriate, and it would increase the potential for open space. Also, the recommendation is that plans be submitted to design review and there be no building code relief. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve DRA design review.
Second.
And is that with no building code relief and also for 9 spaces?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with those provisos.
Thank you very much.
Calling BOA 667-111, 151 Liverpool Street. This is a raise an existing structure and build a new 6-story residential dwelling. There will be 26 residential units with 36 parking spaces. The basement garage will be accessed from a vehicle elevator. On the ground floor will be an additional garage parking and an affordable dwelling unit. Floors 2 to 6 will be all residential. There will be a head house structure with an amenity gym in which will access a common roof deck level. The violation is Article 53, Section 12. Floor to air ratio is excessive. Article 53, Section 12. The building height is excessive. Article 53, Section 12. Rear yard is insufficient. And Article 53, Section 56, off-street parking is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairman, Mr. Secretary, members of the board. My name is Tony Lucchese. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Rudolph Friedman, 92 State Street in Boston. Representing the petitioner with me to my right is my law partner, John Rogers. To his right is James Christopher of the architectural firm RCA, and to his right is John Henson Landscape Architecture. This matter involves a project change with respect to the proposed redevelopment of the existing commercial building at 151 Liverpool Street in East Boston. Prior decision of the board granted zoning relief to permit the construction, rehabilitation of the existing building and the construction of a 3-story addition to the building, resulting in a 5-story building with a height of 58 feet at roof level, containing 24 rental units with parking spaces on the first floor, including stock parking. The applicant acquired the property in March of 2016, investigated the prospects of constructing the project as originally approved. Due to structural and financial and related conditions, the petitioner determined that it was not commercially reasonable to construct a multi-story addition on that structure, and therefore we propose to demolish the existing building and construct a new building with a newly excavated basement for an additional parking level, 2 levels of parking. And if I might correct the record, Mr. Secretary, it's 36 units total. I think you may have said 26.
No, I said 36.
Okay, sorry.
We can go back if you want.
So to account for the additional construction costs, the redevelopment would be with 12 additional units and 1 additional floor. But by constructing a new building, there is an opportunity to reduce some floor-to-ceiling height from the original proposal. So despite the additional floor, the height of the new building at the main roof level is down to 55 feet. And then there is an additional rooftop structure, which gets us to the 64 feet height for that portion of the building.
So can you please tell us what this has been through an Article 80 process?
That is correct.
So please tell us what the bedroom, how many ones, how many twos, how many threes, what the average square foot feet is per unit, per number of bedrooms.
Sure. I'll refer to Mr. Christopher for that information.
Madam Chair, we have 6 one-bedroom units, which range from 477 square feet to 605 square feet.
Sorry, 477 to 605?
Correct. We have 28 two-bedroom units, which range from 627 square feet to 1,207 square feet. And then we have 2 three-bedroom units, which both are 1,207 square feet.
Okay, and how many affordables?
There'll be 5 affordables, 2 of which will be accessible units as well.
Accessible units? Okay, now tell me why parking cannot be accommodated to meet the parking requirement?
These are full parking spaces on the two levels, which would allow for 1 parking space per unit. Because of the redesign of the entranceway, there will actually be, we're only having 1 curb cut instead of 2, so we'll be reducing that, which will provide some additional off-street parking. But the floor area itself would allow for the 36 spaces, 18 per space. We're accessing them with an elevator, so they won't be ramping. That maximizes the available parking.
So what's required under zoning?
With the size of this building, two parking spaces per unit.
And you're providing 1?
Providing 1, that's correct.
Plus no parking for the gym?
The gym would just be an amenity for the residents. Madam
Amenity
Chair.
for the residents, okay.
Correct. Originally, the building included stackable parking lifts, and with the redesign and raising the building, we were able to include the 1 elevator so that each parking space is a single space per unit. And with the elevator, we're able to maximize the parking. We don't lose any spaces for the ramp or to accommodate the travel.
My concern is that, this is a big building. As future development occurs, we're going to have a neighborhood with parking issues because it's, because it's all cumulative. And so that is my basic concern, is when new development comes through without adequate parking. Tell us about the roof deck.
The roof deck structure will be the gym facility with some restroom and storage facilities. It would also have a roof deck as well as a running track that goes around the roof John, do you want to speak to that specifically? I think we have some renderings of that.
That just tapes, so speak up, please.
Okay. All right. John Henson, landscape architect on the project. The roof deck will consist of a variety of features. As Tony mentioned, there'll be a jogging, walking track around the perimeter, which we hope to have enclosed. That enclosure I hope will be transparent. We have a seating plaza area, which is flanked by planters, in which we have both shrub and tree material. And then between the plaza area and the track, you see in rendering a lighter green, that will be a grass sedge area. So we've got seating, planting, grass sedge, and a running, jogging track at the roof level. We're exploring the use of solar panels on the head house as well to supplement power supply to the building.
But at this juncture, you are not proposing enclosing that track, are you?
We are looking at having
No, but that's not part of this project.
protection from the elements,
What does that mean?
but it wouldn't be an opaque enclosure. It would be transparent. It could have a roof, right.
In this proposal, it's an open track at this point, Mr. Pisani. In the future, if we were able, we would pursue it.
Right, because that adds another floor.
It adds height, correct.
It could potentially, if it were done, but not above the head house level.
How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Drawings for that.
And the unit sizes, the one bedrooms range from 477 to 605, two from 627 to 1207, and the three bedrooms sizes are adequate?
How far is it from public transportation?
It's close to the blue line as well as plus lines.
Distance.
It's within 1 block of Maverick Square Station.
Okay, so qualifies as transportation.
Correct, yes.
Okay, so the minimum would be $450 for a studio.
Any questions from the board?
Just on the design, the only access to the parking is to the garage doors to the right of the main entrance,
Correct.
and that's it.
One entrance, one curb cut. That's correct.
Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Claudia Correa from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record in support of this application. They went through a large community process on which they addressed the height by reducing ceiling height in some of the units, also the design. In addition, this proposal is within less than 10-minute walk from the T-stop. It's also less than 15 minutes from the airport. Thank you.
He would like to be recorded in support of this project.
Chair, members of the board, Minor Perez, representing the Carpenters Union, would like to go on record in support of this project.
John Rock, I'm the business manager at East Boston Social Centers, 68 Central Square. We're a community center right across the street. We've been there since 1918. The developers have been talking to us every step of the way. They've been very helpful in addressing our concerns, and they've had a number of forums at our site. So we think they would be good neighbors, and speak in support of it, of the project.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve PPDA design.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with that proviso. You're all set.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
your
Madam
time.
Chair. Thank you, members of the board.
Before we start on the 11:30 cases, the rediscussions, we're going to take a 5-minute break and then resume. back in session. We are now going to hear the rediscussions.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals for the 11:30 cases? Address, please.
188 Harbor Street, Dorchester, Mass.
For the record, calling BOA 651-736-188 Harvard Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Lucia Mendez.
What are you requesting?
It's a wall that was too high.
Are you requesting a deferral?
Yes,
You're requesting a deferral?
yes.
For what purposes?
I don't have all the documents needed.
Okay,
Is there a reason that you don't have all the documents?
We asked for a deferral to make sure we involve the director, but we haven't had a chance to set up a...
Yes, yeah, just for clarification, this was at the subcommittee meeting, and it was consensus of the subcommittee that this should come to the full board.
Motion to defer.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The date, please.
Just a question for Flavia. When do you think you'd have that meeting?
She's on the agenda for the Thursday the 2nd.
Okay. Squeeze in March 28th. You can do March 28th.
Okay. So we'll see you March 28th at 11:30 here.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Address, please.
61 Braintree Street.
For the record, calling BOA 539-624, 61 Braintree Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Mike Morello, Clear Channel Outdoor, 89 Maple Street, Stono, Mass.
And what are you requesting?
Seeking a deferral to have more time to meet with the BAIA.
Have you met with them already?
Yes.
Okay. May I have a motion?
Motion to grant the deferral.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The date, please.
It won't be till April 11th.
Thank you.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals? Hearing none, we're going to go call the first case. Calling BOA 566-677-296 North Beacon Street. This is replacing the existing 20-foot by 60-foot two-sided billboard with a 14 by 48-foot two-sided electronic digital billboard. Violations Article 11, Section 7, electronic signs, Article 51, Section 55, sign regulations, Section 51 to 55, billboards are forbidden. Name and address for the record, please.
Mike Morello, Clear Channel Outdoor, 89 Maple Street, Stono, Mass.
Will you be speaking?
Madam Chair, member of the board, we're here seeking approval to convert an existing 20 by 60 double-sided static billboard to a 14 by 48 digital billboard.
Now, is this a billboard or is it a sign for your business?
Billboard for outdoor advertising use.
And this is going to be double-sided, and will there be public service messages on this, etc.?
Yes.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Office of Neighborhood Services, we would like to go in record and support if they're entering into the BPDA license agreement.
And what is the BPDA license agreement?
It'll-
Clarify.
So under Article 11 of the zoning code, Madam Chairman, conditional uses are only granted by the Board of Appeal if the sign company enters into a license agreement with the BPDA. We'd like that to be carried forward because this is a forbidden use. We'd like that to be one of the provisos on condition of this approval as well.
And, okay, thank you.
Good afternoon.
It's a requirement of the
It's a
sign
requirement
code.
to obtain a conditional use permit, but as a forbidden use, there is no requirement for that. So we would like to attach this as a proviso if this board decides to approve this billboard.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Daniel Polanco, on behalf of Councilor Mark Siomo, would like to echo the Mayor's Office's remarks with the license agreement in place with the BPDA. Also like to state we work in the provisos with the applicant. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Annabelle Gomes from the Brighton Austin Improvement Association. We'd like to go on record in support as long as there is a licensing agreement with the BPDDA. And also like to express one other issue that I think that they've cleared up, but I was asked to mention it. It was that there be no advertisement of alcohol, cigarettes, or marijuana, which Clear Channels clearly said that as long as there's a church, a school, or youth, or a park, that within 500 feet there wouldn't be, which there is, so we're looking that there will be no advertisement of such.
Annabelle, this is across the street from those residential uses, right?
No, so this is where Electric Ave is, where NSTAR is putting their, so actually there isn't really any houses being affected by that right there, so it's actually probably the only location that's open.
Right, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Before the motion, are you prepared to follow the policies that she laid out with respect to avoiding certain objects?
Yes. I'll make a motion to approve with the proviso that no alcohol, no tobacco, and no marijuana. Also, the proviso that says that you guys will enter an agreement with BPDA.
The license agreement.
A license agreement with them.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you.
Calling BOA 608-954-89 Claiborne Street. This is building a 20-foot by 20-foot square foot two-car garage attached to the house in the main entrance, overhead a 12 by 8-foot with an exit door. Garage has already been built. This is to legalize extending living space into the basement. Violations, Article 9, Section 1, garage for a three-family located in a 2F sub-district. Article 9, Section 1, extension of a non-conforming use to extend living space into the basement in a 2F sub-district. Article 65, Section 9, insufficient front yard setback. Article 65, Section 9, insufficient side yard setback, the garage. Article 65, Section 9, insufficient open space. And Article 65, Section 9, excessive FAR in the basement. Name and address for the record, please.
Vargas da Silveira, 89 Claiborne Street.
So is this a request for a 20 by 20 foot single garage?
Yes, it is, ma'am.
Okay.
And also extended living space into the basement.
Okay, so, hold on 1 minute, okay? So I have to read a couple of cases into the record because this was a project that seemed familiar to us, and so we asked for the old files. So BZC number 32365 was before this board on February 26, 2013. This was a request to extend living space into the basement and erect a garage. That time it was denied without prejudice. BZC number hold on.
With prejudice.
Without prejudice.
With prejudice.
Okay, and then BZC number 33635. This case was heard on August, I can't read the writing, it looks like August 5th, 2014, which was a request to erect a 20 by 20 foot single garage. And that was denied, straight denial. So I just wanted to read that into the record, just so that it's clear, okay? So please go ahead, tell us what's being proposed and tell us what's happened since the deferral.
This started out way back. The first denial, I was not involved.
So please just tell us about this proposal.
Sure. So we're proposing to erect a garage and also do an extension to the basement. All of these have existed for many, many years. And the garage in the front that I'll address first, 91 has also the same exact garage in the front. So it's pretty much in harmony with the community. We've been through many, many processes through the community. The community did support it. This last time, though, I did not go because it's been deferred twice for us to get that file into the record. So I did not, but
I believe this time they still resonate the same thing that they've said in many other community meetings, that they do support the project, and they want to see the garage done as soon as possible.
And the garage is not already constructed?
Yes, ma'am.
It's not constructed?
It is constructed.
It is
Just needs to be
constructed?
finished.
Okay, can you, do you have a reduced copy of the photo of the garage?
Yes, ma'am. There should be a plan there with the garage.
I have a plan of the garage, but I don't have a photo.
This is, if I recall, is this a garage like built right in?
You're right.
The same copies that I have is it's here.
Madam Chair.
Thank you.
91, which is the next door, has the same exact garage in front of it. That's been there for many, many, many years.
Well, we don't know if that's legal, so we just will pay attention to this proposal, okay? So, and tell us about the extension of use into the basement. This is, how many units is this?
This is 3-family unit, and the owner lives in the first unit. And the construction that's in the basement right at the moment is legal, because the premises that they had used with ISD, they had laundry, and basically storage room down in the basement. The storage rooms that are there is basically, it was divided like a bedroom prior to the owner buying the place. So he assumed that, and he already had those permits there. Till today, he has it all there because of Section 8 tenants that every time they go there, they have to see that. So since his family has been growing, he has 4 kids, and they want to be able to utilize that basement as further. The height of the basement meets the requirement, the size of the windows, the means of egress, all those has been looked over, and they all meet the requirement of.
So is this a conversion from a 3-family to a 4-family?
No,
What
ma'am.
is it?
No, ma'am. Just an extension from the first floor to the basement, extended living space.
Okay, what will be in the basement?
There will be 2 bedrooms. If I'm 2 bedrooms, the boiler room is existing, and a bathroom. Those are already all existing. So there'll be no work that'll be done in the basement. It's already done.
And so where does this laundry and storage go?
The laundry and storage will be exclusively just for the first floor, and it is on the plan. As you go down to the rear, from the rear stairs into the basement, you walk in right into the laundry room.
And the second and third unit, so how many bedrooms in the first unit?
In the first unit, there's 3 bedrooms.
Second unit?
3 bedrooms also.
And the third?
3 bedrooms also.
Okay, so already there are 9 bedrooms in this building, and then you're adding 2 more in the basement.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
Minimal to say the least. It looks as if the stair to the basement is the common stair for the building. It does not have the look or feel of a dedicated stair from the internal workings of the first floor unit. Is that correct? You did not submit any first floor plans, so I'm inferring that's what it is. Also, you have the boiler room for the total building within that unit. The boiler room is a common feature and cannot be contained within any individual. It has to have access to all the units have to be. So I'm going to make a motion for denial. There's inadequate information presented to us to carry forth. And based on the history of this board having denied in the past, and the owners going ahead and building, I don't know why, we've been denied. So I see that there's nothing that has changed on this. It's a waste of our time.
Second.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Calling the next cases, calling BOA 577-858, 53 Sturbridge Street. There's a companion case, BOA 577-851, 55 Sturbridge Street. For 53 Sturbridge Street, this is to erect a three-family dwelling on an existing lot of 3,022 square feet as part of a subdivision with 55 Sturbridge Street and combined parking. Violations, Article 65, Section 8. Three-family in a 2F 6,000 is forbidden. Article 65, Section 9, insufficient lot area. Article 65, Section 9, insufficient lot width. Article 65, Section 9, insufficient lot frontage. Article 65, Section 9, excessive floor-to-area ratio. Article 65, Section 9, insufficient side yard. And Article 65, Section 42.7, narrow side yard for driveway. This is for 55 Sturbridge, subdivide an existing 6,624 square foot lot with lot into two lots, Lot A, with an existing 2.5-story, three-family, basement storage, living area, first, second, and third floors. The lot area to have 3,600 square foot. Lot A2 will be 3,022 square feet, and will have a proposed three-family parking for both lots. Violations, Article 65, Section 9, insufficient lot area. Article 65, insufficient lot width. Article 65, excessive floor-to-area ratio. Article 65, insufficient lot frontage. Article 65, Section 9, insufficient side yard. And Article 65, Section 42.7, a narrow side yard for driveway. Now, name and address for the record.
Patrick Foley, 308 Victory Road, Quincy.
So you're taking one lot, subdividing it, creating two substandard lots, is that what it is?
Yes, I'm joined here by Jacob Simmons from City Realty and Arthur Chu from Chu Architects. What we're here today is to subdivide the existing lot on 55 Sturbridge Street. Currently on 55 Sturbridge, this is a 2,805 square foot, 2.5-story, three-family. The actual land is 6,644 square feet. After a lengthy community process for this project, we've had 2 abutters meetings, 3 community meetings, 2 meetings with the E-Board, change in the drawings. We changed the original project from a 3-family to a 2-family to better to conform with the existing neighborhood. The 2-family is 2,944 square feet. That's actually smaller than a 2-family at 47 Sturbridge Street, which is 3.
Just clarify, so what's happening at 53 Sturbridge Street?
53 Sturbridge Street, we're looking to erect a 2-family home.
So this is at 53, and what's the proposed square footage?
The square footage of the 2-family home is 2,944 square feet.
And the lot is
So-
still 3,022?
Correct.
Okay. And what's happening at 55?
55 currently sits a 3-family. The 3-family is 2,805 square feet, and they're going to be subdividing the lot. So the 3-family is going to stay there.
Okay. Now, and what is required by zoning as far as lot size? What's the zoning district?
It's a 2F, 6,000 square foot zoning district, but down the street there's a 6-family already that's 6,249 square feet. And
We don't necessarily look at precedent. We look at the proposal before us.
Okay.
So please make the case to us on this particular project. Okay? So, so this is a subdivision, so by right, this 6,000 square foot lot should only have a 2-family dwelling, and you're proposing to have 5 units on this lot.
correct.
With 2 substandard lots, with a lot of violations.
Correct. Which we eliminated. We eliminated a few of them by changing the project from a 3-family to a 2-family. For instance, the 3F is out with it now that it's a 2-family. Reduced the.
Okay, tell us about the side yard and the driveway.
To provide the adequate parking, there's a shared driveway down the middle.
And how many parking spaces?
5 total.
And is that what's required by zoning?
Yes.
How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Drawings are adequate.
Now, so this, so we're looking at, so on the existing building, how much, what will the side yard be on the existing building?
Oh, sorry. Well, it's a combined lot, it would be the width of the, both lots. In the narrow side is 1 foot on the left side and 42'9" on the right side.
So it's 1 foot between, on the side yard, and what's the zoning?
existing on the opposite side,
And what's the zoning required?
10 feet.
So it's 1 foot, and this is through the subdivision.
No, that's existing.
Okay, okay.
The proposed
The proposal for 53, the side yard is 5 foot 1 and 1.5 inch.
Right.
Okay,
And you're required to have 10, right?
Yes.
so basically you're taking a lot, cutting it in half, and then creating a shared driveway to double the density, basically, is the bottom line.
Yes.
Okay. Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal? Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Madam Chairman and members of the board, Ruth George from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Attorney Foley is correct. We did host a series of abutters meetings and civic meetings with Lower Mills Civic Association and the River Street Civic Association, and are in opposition of this proposed project. They will not grant zoning relief due to the density, the size of the project. In addition, there are concerns with the street already being a one-way, being incredibly congested with traffic. Though they did give options within the project for parking on the property, residents are very much still concerned with the current project, and all of the abutters are opposing it. So our office would like to go on record in opposition of this project.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Sean Cheatham, Councilor Andrea Campbell's office. We'd also like to go on record in opposition.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Jessica Rodriguez, City Councilor at Large in East Side with George's office, and she would also like to go on record in opposition.
Good afternoon. My name is Ray Catchings, and I'm a resident at 18 Sturbridge Street. I'd like to go on record in opposition. All of the abutters that we represent for the River Street Civic Association oppose this project. Plain and simple, they're trying to build another house on what is a driveway and a yard, and that is not the fabric of our community.
Hi, good morning, Madam Chairman, member of the board. My name is Winfrey Clark. I'm the immediate abutter. My property is 4749 Sturbridge Street, and I'm 100% against this project. First, because it's not a vacant lot, it's a small piece of parking lot being used right now as tenants park. And this project would be a bad idea for my neighborhood because we already have a huge problem with parking. I, as a media abutter, I have to call the cops a number of times with people blocking my driveway and so forth. So thank you so much.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
Motion for denial, straight denial.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Foley, better luck next time.
Thank you, Tom. Madam Chair, we have to follow the chair, calling BOA 618-656, 607 East 2nd Street. The petitioner seeks a determination that Inspectional Service Department erred in issuing a permit. The permit was issued as an allowed use. Name and address for the record, please.
Can both parties please put their name and address on the record?
Jean Kelly, 605 East 2nd Street.
Adam Burns,
335 East Street.
Patrick Mahoney, Adams and Morency, business address of 350 West Broadway.
George Morency, an attorney, the business address at 350 West Broadway in South Boston.
Daniel Pascarello, Fink, 185 Devonshire Street, Boston.
Okay, so this case was here because the petitioner was seeking a determination that ISD erred in issuing a permit for ERT 560651, and the permit was issued as an allowed use. As is our usual procedure, we sent the case to the law department seeking their opinion and the justification for their recommendation. And this is subject to attorney-client privilege. So based on their memo and our analysis of this, of the reasoning behind it, we determined that the Inspectional Services Department did not err in its issuance of an as-of-right permit for the construction of a single-family row house at 607 East 2nd Street. So may I have a motion to that effect?
Make a motion to concur with the recommendation of the law department.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, we have one case that's pending. He's on his way.
Okay.
It's the last case of the small committee meeting for Sim Street.
Oh, yes.
So I will read into the record for the hearing recommendations that we had on, I go as slow as I can,
Take your time.
on February 16th for the subcommittee. The first one, case BOA 665-283 Chestnut Street, was a denial without prejudice. They withdrew. Case BOA 665759 145 to 145 East Berkeley Street was deferred to the small board on 323. Case BOA 655855 100 Revere Street was a proposed exterior deck of 9 foot by 3 foot 6 wood deck and a 3 foot 6 high railing, iron fence escape, and 5/8 square balusters. Was approved with BPDA. Case BOA 658675 115 to 115 H Street was obtain a curb cut for an existing parking for 2 parking spaces. Was approved with BPDA. Case BOA 649750 67 Dudley Street was construction a new rear second floor addition and new roof deck over an existing first floor plan in a single family dwelling. Was approved with BPDA. Case BOA 668776 14 Hyde Park Avenue was to change occupancy to include a drive school use. There was no work to be done, was straight out approval. Case BOA 647413 30 Brookfield Street was a first floor kitchen extension, a 12 by 5 second floor bathroom, and addition of 16 by 5. Was approved with BPDA. Case BOA 669263 11 Ellis Street was an expanded footprint and roof line. It was approved with BPDA. Case BOA 667189 111 Addington Road was a carport canopy on the side of a garage. It was referred to the full board on March 28th. BOA 649732 219 Marathon Road was a small 10 by 12 by 6 addition to an existing single-family home, remodeling the existing master bath and bedroom with straight-out approval. Case BOA 672001 388 Park Street was a 2 wood frame attached garage on the east side and the right side of the house facing the house, 1 story in height of 24 by 24 with a flat roof. Was approved with BPDA. And the last case, we're just waiting on the gentleman to show up, so.
Let's make a motion on all the previous cases that you've read.
I make a motion to concur with the recommendation of the subcommittee on all cases of that the secretary read off.
A second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Sir? Yes, you're here, I know, for 188 Harvard Street. The applicant is here requesting a deferral to get the information in place, so it's been deferred to March 28th. Okay, so we'll see you then, because I know you have an interest in this. Okay? Now with Sim Street, we deferred this to today at 11:30. It is now at the applicant's request, specific request. It is now 1:15.
It's my understanding that there was confusion as to when and where he was supposed to appear, which I can't really speak to that because I thought it was pretty clear, but that's neither here nor there. He is on the way and has been for quite some time. Stephanie called him and spoke to him about a half hour ago, and he was heading in.
Do we have the most recent plans?
We do, with the updated refusal letter as well.
Mr. Bazzani, have you looked at the plans?
No, I haven't.
Madam Chair, can you pass that? That's the updated refusal letter with the revised plans with
Okay.
the plan examiner's stamp
Okay.
on it.
Okay, in the meantime, we will break for 10 minutes and we will resume at 1:25. Okay, the Board of Appeal for Tuesday, February 28th is back in session. We were awaiting the presence of the applicant for 2 Sim Street, which was scheduled for noon. It is now 1:25. The applicant is not here, So may I have a motion?
Motion for denial without prejudice.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The meeting is now adjourned.